Today, we are trying to make sense of all this doom and gloom surrounding third-party games on Switch 2.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of things that have come out.
Hand-wringing.
There's a lot of hand-wringing about like how they're selling on Switch 2, what is the future of third-party games. We want to dig into this. We want to talk about, how Nintendo approaches third-party stuff and also make sense of some of the stuff that's going on. Because I do think people are kind of spiraling right now.
Clearly the answer is they're
panic.
doomed, we're doomed.
Everything's
Collectively,
doomed.
everything is
Panic.
doomed. But
Everybody
yes,
panic.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
interesting information in this report and some other kind of supporting information around it. So we want to go piece by piece and try and make sense of it and see what's real and maybe what's making a mountain out of a molehill here.
Oh.
Yeah.
A molehill.
That's a fun phrase.
How big is a molehill?
I have gophers in my backyard, and let me tell you, they're a real
Are they small little holes?
they're a pain in my molehill. Okay, let me tell you that much.
What?
Huh?
How big though is a molehill?
Yeah. A couple inches.
A little mound?
Yeah, so don't make a mountain out of it, see?
Okay.
This is very different than your turn of phrase the other day. Kitty corner?
Kitty corner.
Nobody knows what that means.
Kitty corner.
Does that mean it's on the other side of the road?
It's
or
on the other side of the corner.
across the street?
No. Diagonal from the thing.
I don't know what you mean. Around the corner.
No! A diagonal, if this is the corner, it's diagonal from it.
Whatever. We need to hit the streets to make sense of this. We did hit the streets yesterday.
We did.
In search of the Donkey Kong Bonanza demo, which
We vlogged it.
I will not spoil for people who haven't
Right.
seen the video what the result was, but we ended up going to many just to see what the distribution of the place,
kiosks.
because not every place has a kiosk yet.
Yes.
And that's an interesting thing because this is the one way to play this demo now that's out
Right.
there. It ain't going on the eShop for fear of a data mining a banana.
Oh no.
I found potassium. Oh yes, there.
Vitamin whatever.
Also, to the internet with my hot leaks.
Your vitamins.
But it was fun to get around town. We visited a town that is, I don't know how you knew this, but it is founded as a necropolis.
It's called a necropolis.
Which means it was a city that was expressly made to hold cemeteries.
Correct.
Local history in action, I have to say.
It's
I
only-
really didn't know. I thought
It's
that
only
was
like 10 minutes from here.
I thought that was a fascinating fact because
Yes.
we were driving and I was like, hey, wow, what's happening
There's
here?
a lot of cemeteries
We're
here.
surrounded by cemeteries. Yes, very interesting
The
stuff.
population of that town, dead to alive people, 1,000 to 1. 1,000 dead people to 1 alive
Is that
person.
right? That's a lot.
That's what they say.
Wow.
On their town website.
Okay.
I read it yesterday as I was corroborating my facts.
Well, how many Donkey Kong demos do they have? That's my question. Watch the video to find out.
0 in that town.
We are getting very close to the culmination of our road to 100,000
Wow.
subscribers right here on YouTube. Thank
That's
you
your
to
channel.
everybody who has subscribed.
How
If you
exciting.
haven't, now's the chance to bang, hammer, smash the button, whatever turn
Smash.
of phrase you would like.
And tell all your friends and family to smash that button
Tell
too.
everybody to get to smashing. We have been asked, like, are you guys going to do something
Yeah.
fun? What are you going to do? We have a few things in mind. One thing we can share is once we make it, we will be doing another one of our themed weeks. What have we done? We did Sonic Week. That was iconic.
That was iconic. We
did
did
Zelda Week.
Week.
Have we done another one?
We did Mario Week.
Really?
We did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, maybe we did, maybe we didn't. We did Mario
Yeah.
Week. I think that was leading up to Mario Wonder.
Yes.
Yes. So we have another one in mind. We won't be doing it until we get to 100,000,
That's right.
though. So hopefully,
Mail Week, here we come.
hopefully sooner than. I mean, look, it could be Dragon Drive Week at this rate.
A Dragon Drive
So
Week.
I mean, you all have some hand in this. So
I'll drag you while you drive.
yes, I'll tie you to the back of a car.
Yeah, I'll take you to the back of the car.
and
You
drive
run
around.
behind
Wow.
as I
that
drive
doesn't-
really fast on the street.
Well, that doesn't sound fun at all. Something you didn't find very fun. Look at me with the segues today.
Oh, what did I not find?
Our Welcome Tour gameplay video, which is hitting
Wow.
Patreon. And you don't have Welcome Tour, I do. And I thought it would
No.
be fun to do a gameplay video to kind of show you
Sure.
what this is.
I did want to see it.
Right.
As I said, I'm glad that you were getting it because I wanted to check it out. Let me just tell you, I'm so glad I did not pay for this
This
game.
goes into the annals of history as among our most cursed videos, unfortunately. Because you just had a full meltdown. You had a temper tantrum, basically, and I don't entirely know why.
This game infuriated me. This is not even a game. Whatever this was.
Software.
This piece of
software.
This piece of software that you paid $10 for. Absolutely.
Let me go through your receipts. Let me look at everything you've paid $10 for.
Me insane.
I'll raise an eyebrow at something you paid $10 for. No problem. No problem.
Like what?
Oh, I needed a oat milk smoothie latte with.
I didn't pay $10 for that.
A pump of this and
I didn't pay
extra foam, please.
I've never gotten that before.
It needs to be exactly. It needs to be exactly this temperature.
I've never gotten that before.
There was a guy at Nintendo who
who
had the funky Starbucks order.
Yeah, it was a long list, and you would have to write it down. It was 20 things on that list.
And he was one of the product carriers, which meant he could not leave the room that we were in with the stuff. So
if you needed to go get coffee,
we would do him a solid. Like, we'll go get your order, but you have to write it down. You would have to like literally hand it to the person at the counter, and they would like.
But it was like no foam, extra milk, extra hot.
But it was a lot of pumps, of things that didn't seem to go well together.
Going.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was a list of like 20 things, and you know for a fact that my coffee order is the most simplest coffee order.
It can't be good for you.
I do not spend $10 on.
Let me audit you.
Great.
Forget the IRS. I'm going to audit you and look at every $10 purchase you made. And
Go right ahead.
I'll find a few things.
I truly don't buy a lot of stuff at all.
I'll find a few things that are.
I bought some earrings at the Nintendo store for $24.99. That was worth the money.
Good.
I think that's well worth it.
Good.
You saw me do that. What else?
Why are you kicking are you sending me a Morse code signal through but the kicks you're putting into my chair right now?
I'm about to kick you.
It's like I hate you. Yeah.
Long kick.
You're sending
two
me
short kicks.
Really mean.
And one kick in the head.
Morse code, because you're boating history. You're sending me Morse code messages.
I'm not. You don't send Morse code during boating.
Sailor language.
No, they just the radio.
That's on Patreon. Check it out. It's exclusive there.
The welcome tour, though. Goodbye tour.
Yes, notification squadden up, or get it on the Patreon shop for $5.
Goodbye tour.
Check that out.
Yeah. Speaking of goodbye,
the opposite of welcome is goodbye, and that's what I'm saying to you because I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks at the end of this week.
Goodbye.
I will still be popping in for the podcast and the little odds and ends, but it's mostly going to be you running this whole operation. How do you feel about that?
Goodbye.
It's not what you said yesterday. What am I going to do?
Well, I'm mad at you today.
Why?
Because you said that I paid $10 for a smoothie, which is untrue. You're telling lies about me.
I didn't say anything about a smoothie.
You're spreading lies about me.
I see. So...
Goodbye. Au revoir.
Enjoy yourself. Hope you enjoy the inevitable Nintendo Direct.
I've done that before for myself, actually.
I know. So there's nothing to be worried about at all.
I'm not actually worried about that. I'm worried about a couple things. I wanted to film some gameplay stuff next week, so I got to make sure my OBS works. I'm worried about that.
Yeah.
I'm worried about having to do, which I just might not do, these little kid on a green screen.
Oh, I think you should.
Pithy little your hot takes.
I think you should.
I don't really want to.
Why?
Because I don't like it.
What do you not like it when I do it?
No, I like it when you do it.
Okay.
I don't like to do it.
You don't want to do it.
I don't like
you don't have opinion.
myself.
You don't have opinion. You don't like yourself.
In those moments.
Oh no. What?
I feel like I might be too mean.
Well, you certainly were mean to Welcome Tour.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
People can't handle it.
Okay.
You can handle it because you know me really well. I don't want to be like really, really mean, which I can be.
I see.
And I feel like sometimes in the moment I'm very mean.
Okay.
And then I have to like think about it and be less mean.
So if you did a green screen video, let's say about disgraced Super Smash Brothers players, that would probably not go well for you.
No.
Or we'll just operate with a bit of restraint. Maybe find a different topic.
Yeah,
to do it on.
Restraint is not what I do not have.
That's true. You don't.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's my problem.
Anyway, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Good luck.
Bye.
Let's get into our conversation about third-party games, bombing, tanking.
It's very dramatic.
On the Nintendo Switch 2. But first, we have a sponsor to shout out. It's a new sponsor. Wonderful. Yes. This episode is sponsored by Rula. I have a fact for you. I wouldn't even call this a fun fact. Every year, more than 65 million people in America seek help for a mental health condition.
Right.
But 2 out of 3 people give up because of the broken and frustrating system behind it.
I gave up.
That's terrible.
I gave up until I found a solution. It's awful.
That's terrible. Yes, Rula is here for this. finding a therapist that takes your insurance is one of these challenges that makes people just give up. Either they don't take it or you end up paying so much money.
It's very expensive.
It's outrageous, but no, Rula has a solution for all of this.
That's right. They do things a lot differently. They partner with over 100 insurance plans. And that's so nice because that makes sort of the average copay per session $15. Unheard of, honestly, for therapy. Like, I remember back in the early days when I was trying to find a solution, I was paying upwards of like $200 to $300 per session because it was so difficult to find a really good therapist that took your insurance.
Right.
And you're really like having to choose between the two hardest things, whether you can financially do this or whether you are sacrificing your mental health, which should not be a choice that you have to make sure that you're okay. Like, that's just not fair. You shouldn't have to do that. So, yeah, it's really nice that Rilla has all of these different solutions to help you get the mental health help that you need.
Yeah, and the system is not really caught up because insurance is made for mostly your physical health these days. But when you start to introduce mental health, like, well, I don't know about that. That might not be covered.
Yeah.
But Rula definitely is also taking into account all of your goals, all of your preferences, all of your background to help make sure that you get connected with the right kind of person, and then just feel comfortable about the conversations that you are having with the therapist. So it's wonderful.
And they're all licensed professionals. They have a lot of really great therapists and network. And again, you can do it to your own preferences and with the goals that you have in mind for your own mental health.
Yes.
So really nice.
Go to rula.com/KitandKrysta to get started today. That's RULA.com/KitandKrysta for quality therapy that is covered by insurance.
Wow. We'll leave the link right over here with a QR code that you can scan and also in the description below.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So the whole reason that this whole controversy got going was because there was an article in The Game Business, which is a great new newsletter that everybody should probably go out and subscribe to because they have really interesting news updates and interviews and stuff. But they did a big article on like, well, what is the Switch 2 broke all these sales records, but was it successful for third parties? And it did have some things in there that were a little bit alarming. So let's go through some of the points and data points that they had as sort of the starting point for this conversation. So it said that 62% of physical game sales for the Switch 2 in the US were from first-party games, not counting the Mario Kart World bundle. There's also some data from the UK, but let's see if we can make sense of all of this. 86% of physical game sales in the UK were from first-party games, including the Mario Kart World bundle. So it does get a little bit confusing of like, well, does this have the bundle? Does this not? Comparing that with the Switch 1, 89% in the UK physical game sales were from first-party games. Cyberpunk was the best-selling third-party game during the launch. Sega was the number 3 biggest publisher on the Switch 2 at launch. Who was number 2? We don't know. they're not listing this out.
Not listing this, yeah.
And then 80% of Switch 2 game sales came from physical retailers, which is interesting since we've been hearing more and more about like, well, people just love the convenience of buying at home. The Sega point does make... Sega had a lot may had...
Yakuza. Out of those 20 games...
Yakuza, Puyo Puyo, Sonic... They may have had
a couple.
They may have had something else that I'm forgetting, but they had a lot of games.
Right.
I'm trying to think if anybody else had more individual Switch 2 games.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. They were up there.
Capcom
had a couple.
2.
Yeah.
No, I think Sega's number 1.
Sega's definitely.
Yeah, I wonder if Capcom was number 2 in terms of biggest publisher.
Yeah, we don't know. Again, it's like there's some info that's available. There's some info that is not.
Right.
And they were pointing out that overall the sales in terms of just the numbers are better than they were on the Switch 1.
Right.
But of course they were because they sold so many more systems. So kind of in comparison, it's like, it's not really...
It's almost like a wash.
It's not really that great. And there were also really just a handful of games, period, available on the Switch 1.
Yes.
Not the like close to 20 that we had on the Switch 2, and then of course you're just open up the system and you have all your old games and you have all the
backwards
the Switch 1
Yeah,
library,
the
right there waiting
Yeah.
for you on
Yeah.
the Switch 2 eShop.
There's something really curious too, and almost like a proof point, I guess, for these physical retailers and just physical games in general. It just seems like that is such an ingrained part of the Nintendo audience, of like going into a store and getting something physical or getting a physical game. Like that's
Playing a demo?
Playing a demo, sure, if you can find one. But there's something about the physicality of this whole launch that's really, I wouldn't say surprising, but I guess maybe more so like reinforcing the fact that this is just such a key part of the Nintendo audience that maybe some of these third parties are not as used to, you know? Like some of these third parties with games on other big platforms like PlayStation and Xbox are more used to a digitally like okay consumer versus that is just not the Switch, the Nintendo audience, you know? So
Then why is it that more than half of the Switch 1 sales are digital?
Switch 1?
Yeah, that's not one of these facts here, but that's something that we kept seeing in terms of the Nintendo financial results. Anyway,
I don't know.
we might come back to that. So there was the one other thing that became the headline for everybody. One third-party publisher characterized the numbers as, quote, below our lowest estimates, despite the strong hardware sales. And that was really, I think, the one line
That people
got people
gravitated
like
towards,
really locked
yeah.
into this gloom and doom of like, oh my gosh, it's just over.
Yeah.
Doomed.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see a single person really trying to dig into like, well, what was that one game
Yeah.
that got...
Because that makes a difference, you know?
Again, important to note, this was one game, and it would be helpful to know what that game was. They didn't say in the article. I do have a hypothesis, though, that I'll share.
Yeah.
Which is a few weeks before the Switch 2 came out, the game business did have an interview with some of the people at Unity who worked on Konami's Survival Kids, which was a launch game.
Not Konami.
Yes, Konami.
Oh, okay.
I think this is potentially the game in question. And I think this is a game that was set up to have poor sales because it's a digital game. It's a digital-only game that was $50.
Yeah.
It's a game that has a 61 on Metacritic, so not super high quality. And it had almost zero marketing behind it. Aside from that one game business interview, I didn't see a single piece of marketing for this game.
They did a trailer,
So,
something very bare bones.
when we talk, when we potentially overreact to below our lowest estimates, well, maybe some games just are not selling for a reason. Like, if look at all, there's 3 reasons right there why Survival Kids is not selling for Konami.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you
We
have
don't
it.
know if that's a fact that is
We
the
don't
game.
know. We don't know.
But that's a good hypothesis.
Because if I'm Mr. the Game Business and I'm calling up, that's a contact that I have. Hey, Unity, how is your game selling? Unity made that game for Konami. They made Survival Kids. Hey, how's it doing? Oh, it's not doing great, thanks. Yeah, put that in my article as just like a blind item without directly saying who it was.
Yeah, I think that the big takeaway on that point is that, you know, there may be some games that are not doing as well as expected, but there's also just some games that wouldn't do well, period. You know what I mean? So it's like...
At any time.
At any time on any platform. So really putting it under the guise of like, oh, this is a reason why every game is going to tank on Switch.
Right.
Is probably a little unfair.
Yeah. I did also check Survival Kids on the Switch 2 eShop charts. It's not on there.
Okay.
Didn't see it there. So again, that is just it's just a hypothesis that I am putting out there to try and temper the panic of, oh my gosh, every game is failing.
Yeah.
Like, well, look closer and there may be reasons why some games are underperforming.
Yeah, there is a line that says most, in this article, I'm just reading it from the article, most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers. So most games did post very low numbers. And then the one publisher that said this was below our lowest expectations. Again, the hypothesis being potentially this could be Survivor Kids, which was just kind of a title that was maybe doomed to fail regardless. But still says here that most Switch 2 games posted very low numbers. So, yeah, I mean, there is definitely something here to talk about, obviously, which is why we're talking about it.
Survival Kids was also the game that was being shown when the stream crashed, when we were in the direct.
That's why I don't
Nintendo
remember.
compensate me for my damages to my game.
Oh my god. Retribution?
Yes.
To
I demand
Konami and
comeuppance.
Oh my gosh. Lifetime supply of Dragon Drives and welcome tours for you and your staff.
In exchange for a lifetime membership to my gym. my health club and a bunch of vitamins.
Oh, you can be buff.
It'd be a trade, yes.
Oh, I like that.
It's like baseball. I'm gonna trade you some vitamins
For like a piece of gum.
And a gym pass for a slot on your YouTube channel. Thank you.
All right. It's not terrible. It's not a terrible trade. I take that trade.
Yes.
I take that trade.
So let's keep debunking, because it's fun to debunk. So
Okay.
I think the typical assumption is like, oh, it's good to be a launch title.
Yeah.
It's great because
you get the hype.
people are getting a system. People have no games. They need to get games. People are excited. They want to spend money. They've been saving up. So it's good to be part of the launch lineup. And you're included. Oh my gosh, you're included in all this marketing. Why would you not? You should bend over backwards to try and be a launch game. But is that actually true?
Yeah. It's a little bit of a myth, I think, to be that just because you are a launch game, you're automatically going to be successful. I think that is kind of a myth that if you haven't worked on a launch cycle for something, it's hard to understand how that works because, for all those reasons that you just said, on paper, it sounds great. It's like, yes, you get to be part of this moment, you get to be included in marketing, unless the stream crashes and your game isn't shown, whatever. And you get to be part of something. But on the other side of that is like, look at the competition around you.
Right.
And not only just from other third-party games, what you're competing with is Mario Kart World and other, first-party Nintendo stuff or any other bigger Nintendo marketing that they're doing around the hardware itself. You're competing against all of that other noise, which makes it very difficult for your game to stand out.
Yeah, no matter the platform, there's always going to be a big first-party game that you're competing against.
That's right.
And at best,
Yeah.
you will be somebody's number 2 game.
It probably won't be.
At best.
Yeah.
And then there's only one slot that can do that. In this case, you had almost 20 games competing to be number 2.
To be number
Maybe
2.
number 3 after Welcome Tour.
Maybe number
Killer
3.
app Welcome Tour.
You don't know. Some people really love Welcome Tour.
Yeah.
And just because it was a first-party Nintendo game, it automatically became their number 2.
Yeah, well, I got to get that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's, a little bit more money off the pool of money they have to spend on stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, you're in a place where you're hoping that Nintendo will elevate you to a certain degree, but they got a lot of other things that they need to do as well to launch hardware. They need to do a lot of marketing of their own to not only just talk about their own first party games, but also to talk about the hardware. So now you're just getting the scraps, of what Nintendo has left to support you and the other 19 games in this launch roster.
Right.
So that just becomes this really just crazy grab for attention that just may not happen for a lot of these games.
And the thinking of it's good to be a launch title is a little bit counterintuitive to the process of picking a launch date any other time.
Right.
And this is something when we talk to companies that we help consult with, this is a conversation that we have. It's when should I launch my game? And it's really and this is what we've been hearing about Grand Theft Auto 6. It's everybody wants to stay as far away from that as possible.
Yeah.
Because that's going to eat up all the conversation. Everybody's going to be playing that. There's going to be no time for anything else. It's ideally you want to find a date where you have as little competition as possible so you can be the story, the game where people...
You can have your own moment.
Right, where people hopefully have time and money and interest in playing it. Whereas this, it's no, we're all gathering around the big thing. It's we've all gravitated now to Mario Kart World, which is you can argue, is that going to be as big as Grand Theft Auto? Maybe, who knows? Maybe not. But it's a massive, one of the biggest games of the year.
Yes.
And now everybody's going towards that, which is, again, counterintuitive to every other day of the year when you're trying to do this equation in your head.
Exactly. I mean, you might not get that launch moment excitement, but you do have a better shot of being in your own spotlight without having to share it with a bunch of other
20
stuff.
other games.
20 other games plus the hardware plus the first party games.
Right.
You know,
right.
so yeah.
So the next question that you brought up now, did Nintendo do enough to help third parties? Because again, if some of these did not do well, let's start with, I want to point a finger.
Uh-oh.
Who's to blame?
Who is to blame
Yes.
for this doom and gloom?
Maybe it's 2 fingers. Maybe it's, how many fingers do I have?
All 10.
Yes.
Point it out at a
Like
paper.
the Emperor in Star Wars doing my force lightning. Yes. Take that, Sam Jackson.
Yeah, so they did, you know, host the hands-on events, which included third-party games, although we have heard from people that said, you know, they really prioritized people's hands-on of the first-party games first and foremost,
Right.
of course.
But it did sound like if you had a demo, you could be part of that event.
Yes.
And they did give people ample time to go through that. Like, I heard some people say, like, oh, I stayed there for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So
yeah. After you finish the first-party games, Nintendo
Yeah.
gave you some free time to
Right.
roam around and pick and choose
Right.
the
But
third-party
again,
games you want
most
to
people
play.
were going to see the first-party games.
Correct.
I put this in the thumbs-up side of things. Of this was a good thing that Nintendo
Well,
did.
at least they let them be there.
Right, they could have said, no, you can't be there, or,
Yeah.
or you got to figure that out yourself.
Yeah.
Do your own demos.
At least they let them be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like, a lot of people didn't get to go. We didn't get to go. They were only in limited cities, but this was like a major undertaking for them.
Right.
Like this probably was like the key beyond the directs marketing activity that they had.
Right.
So I put this in the thumbs up category.
Yeah,
Of, like
yeah.
they did go out of their way to make this available.
Yes, they did do that. Although I would say too, there were some other events that happened in between the announcement, April Direct, and the system launch, like PAX East, for example, where it didn't seem like Nintendo was very interested in allowing third parties to
No.
do their own thing.
No, it had to be one of their events.
So that
unless
was a
you had
little-
a creative solution.
That was a little unfortunate for some people who
Right.
maybe wanted to do like a secondary marketing push for games coming in that launch timing.
Yeah, if you were so again, we were at PAX East. We went to the Marvelous booth to play Rune Factory. They had the game running on high-end PCs.
That's right.
I imagine.
They would have loved to have it on
I
Switch
imagine
too.
if they said, "Hey Nintendo, we would like. Can you loan us the hardware?"
They would
They
say
probably
no.
would have said no.
They would have said no.
They would have said no. So
They wouldn't be able to control that demo experience
right.
outside of their own hands-on events.
Yeah.
So while I agree, I give them a thumbs up as well for doing this, but they did it for reasons, selfish reasons. They did it to control the experience. They did it to make sure that people play their first-party games. And oh, by the way, if you were a third-party, you know, you had a third-party game for Switch, will allow you to be there too. But that's not the focus of these events.
Does it go to a thumb sideways now?
It's like
It's like the gladiators or what?
yeah, I'm just pointing out that there are some like it's not like Nintendo out of the goodness of their heart made an event to help third parties. It's not like that kind of benevolent gesture. It's a very like self-serving gesture. And oh, by the way, you'll be there to strengthen our message how we see fit. But we won't allow you to do it any other way. Also, like
Okay.
if you wanted to hold your own events, too bad. So,
I still give it a thumbs up.
all right.
They also did the Creator's Voice video series, which they did give pretty primo placement for on all of their social channels. On the other side, they didn't do this for very many games.
Yeah, I
They
like
did
this a lot.
These were good.
actually.
They did these for Split Fiction. They did one for Hyrule Warriors. It's really a first-party game. They did one for Hyrule Warriors.
Cyberpunk.
They did the NVIDIA one.
NVIDIA.
They did Cyberpunk. Did they do any others? I can't. Anyway, not every game got
Not
them.
everyone
There was
got
no
the-
Survival Kids Creator's
No,
Voice.
they did not do this for everybody. So it was kind of a premium, like hand-picked.
Right.
And one could argue, and again, this is maybe neither here nor there, but one could argue that they did the creators' voices for games that didn't really need it.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like to your point, Hyrule Warriors, someone was like a first-party game. They're
That's
probably
a
gonna
first-party game, yeah.
gonna be doing other marketing for this game anyway when the game is about to launch.
Yeah.
So sure, fine, do it, whatever.
Yeah.
Split Fiction is already a game that has gotten like critical acclaim and is very, very well known. So it's not like this unknown game that you've never heard of before that you're learning for the first time and getting excited for it to come out on Switch 2 via a creator's voice. Cyberpunk, I would say, is like the number 2 game of this whole thing, and it has been the number 2 game of this whole thing since the beginning. And also a very well-known game that you have definitely heard of. So it's not like they're like, and NVIDIA is neither here nor there either because it's not a game. So
Does it just amount to political ring kissing?
it is.
Hey, EA, we're gonna oh my gosh, we're gonna fly our camera crew out
Yes.
to Sweden to talk to the Haze Light guys, and you can say whatever you want, and we'll put it everywhere.
Right.
It'll be great for you.
It is.
Aren't we a great partner?
That is exactly what this is. It's a business transaction. Again, Nintendo's not doing a creator's voice to be like benevolent and giving creators a platform, giving developers a needed platform. They're doing this because they want to show from a business perspective what a good partner they are. So I really like these though. I thought these were really well done. I watched every single one of these.
Yep.
I really enjoyed. I love seeing Nintendo do anything behind the developers,
Right.
with the developers that are making games for their platform. I wish they would do it for first-party games. But whether or not it is truly in the service of helping third parties, I would say like probably not.
Right. They did. So is that a thumbs up or a thumbs sideways?
I'm still sideways
I think
on
that's
both.
a thumbs. That's a thumbs sideways. Yes.
Sideways thumb.
What has to be a thumbs down, though, is there were no systems out for review, which again was kind of a nothing for them because, again, so many people had played Mario Kart. Everybody had decided of like, do I want to get this or not? But again, for people who are trying to think of like, well, what might my second or third game be?
Right.
And they're trying to look like, well, what's a good game or what's a high quality game? And if they're cruising, whatever site or whatever Metacritic. That information was not there, and when this information came out, we started to hear some rumblings from third parties that were like, maybe we should have waited a month to release our game because
Right.
maybe being a launch game is not all it's cut out to be.
That's where you get the other negative about being a launch game is that you just may not have the time to do everything that you need to do.
Right.
And whether or not it was in your control of Nintendo sending out review systems, like just even if they did, let's say they did send out tons of review systems, would these media outlets have the time to thoroughly review all 20, third-party games? Still probably no.
Yeah.
And then you're back to the same situation we were talking about before, where you're just like competing for people's time in this like extremely crowded space.
Right.
So yeah, maybe it is better to not be a launch game and wait a month, and even wait for people to have systems in their hand and resave up a little bit more money for the next purchase. Maybe that actually is a better strategy.
Right. And this is a case where they were solely operating in their own interest. They said it was for the system update. We don't know exactly. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons why they made that decision. I have no doubt when third parties found this out, a lot of nasty emails and phone calls were made and sent. But this is the case where Nintendo's just like, sorry.
Too bad, so sad.
Got to do what's best for our platform.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they don't have to do anything.
Deal with it as the glasses
come down.
Slowly came down onto their face. Deal with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is. What can you say? There's no argument against that. They're the platform holder. They get to do what they want.
Right.
So that's just too bad for you. Too bad, so sad.
So that's a thumbs down.
Yes.
So we maybe have one thumbs up, one thumb sideways, and one thumbs down.
Yeah. So
it evens out to nothing.
Nothing.
So they basically did nothing. Got it.
Yeah.
Did third parties do enough?
Okay.
So you very correctly pointed out there may be things that they wanted to do that they could not.
Right.
We did go to see Bravely Default with Square Enix at PAX, and they had come up with some
creative solutions.
A creative solution to be able to do that. But I think, again, a lot of companies were not in the position
to make that ask.
To do that, because pre-launch, you need help from Nintendo to do things like this, and they probably
were unavailable.
We're not going to say yes to that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Facts, yes.
So while you were able to be part of their event, you had very little control of what else you could do as your own game is being put out there.
Right. Something I do have to give a thumbs down to on the third-party side is very few of them chose to do any marketing at all for these Switch 2 games that they had on the way. Do you remember we did about 2 weeks or like 10 days, right before the launch, we did our third-party game buyer's guide video.
Yeah.
And I was the one who was going through the information for every single game. And I was really shocked at how many games had no information on the specifics of the Switch 2 version. It might say like, oh, it uses the mouse. But if I was like, well, okay, what can you do with the mouse? There's just no information. There's just no information at all. And it's like, this is a big deal. Like, you should be telling people what is unique about your game on this platform. But I was just like, yeah, this is the game. It's happening. Here's the 30-second trailer. That's all you're getting.
Yeah.
And we saw some kind of scramble to do something at the last second. Like, you remember there was that video of Nobunaga's Ambition, where it's like, oh, here's oh, look at me, I can plug in a mouse, look at this. And that was like a day before the Switch 2 came out. I remember Puyo Puyo had some other trailer.
Yeah.
That was also like, oh, look, you can play with a mouse and do this. So it's like, why is this so last second?
Yeah.
You don't have to, you don't need Nintendo to help you make a trailer to show, talking about what's cool about your game.
Right.
Versus like some other companies, like Fast Fusion really did a good job of that. Like, over a month out, like they were really talking up their unique things. Like a lot of it was very technical in nature. They were emphasizing, oh, we got a low price. Like that was an example of how to do it right. But most companies were just like, pack it and ship it. It'd be fine.
It is different when your game is a Switch 2 exclusive, which is what Fast Fusion was, versus these games that are older games that are just out on multiple platforms.
Okay, a counter to that, the Yakuza 0 Director's Cut actually had quite a bit of new content to it. What was it? I don't know. Did you know there was this whole other mode of like online multiplayer brawls? Like I really had to do sweat of my brow work on the internet.
Yeah. And a lot of people
to find out
most people won't do that.
This even existed versus like, oh, I played Yakuza. I played that on a PS4.
Yeah.
I'm good. Not even knowing. What do you mean by director's cut?
It's so interesting because while they wanted to be part of this launch, it didn't seem like they really valued this launch at all.
They didn't make the most of the opportunity.
Yeah, it's like, we get it. It's like you want to be part of this launch, but it's one of many like places that you can play the game.
Yeah.
So I understand where some of these companies are coming from, where they're like, well, we're just going to try to do the shotgun approach, where we just like shoot it out to everything, and whatever sticks to the wall, we'll take it.
Right.
But we're not going to make an extra effort in any of these places, even though this is a really big launch. This is a big deal. We can get new players in.
Right.
So it is an interesting approach for some of these third-party publishers, because it's like, well, do they still not really believe in the power of this platform then? Is that what it is? Or they're still kind of testing the waters here? It's an interesting approach.
Or another example, not to pile on Sega, but there was, after the Direct, it was like, okay, we know what the launch lineup is. Here it is. And everybody was articles were everywhere. People were like, oh yes, here's the list of the launch lineup. And then remember like a week or 10 days later, it was like, oh yeah, Sonic and Shadow Generations, that's a game. Oh, guess what? And that's also going to be a launch game. Just out of nowhere. This game just
very much like an afterthought.
It just like materialized and got added to the launch lineup. It's like, why were they not ready to say this 10 days ago when everybody was going through and declaring what the launch lineup was?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it, but I also kind of do get it. It is very much like that approach, though. It's like we're putting it out everywhere. No one is special. You know? It doesn't really matter.
So why even do it then?
Well, it's just everywhere. It doesn't. Our approach is just
and
why?
Sega just announced like 3 other games 10 days ago that were launch games. What happened to this one? Sonic. What is Sega without Sonic? Nothing. And that's me saying that.
I don't know.
So you should announce your game if it's a launch game when you are announcing your other launch games, because guess what? This thing's coming out in less than 2 months.
Yeah, I agree. I think
what's with the lollygagging?
Giving people the information. Maybe there was like some
tell somebody.
Issue. Maybe some
what issue?
Communication issue. I don't know. It just seems like if you don't have a Switch exclusive, there is this sense of like, well, it's just another platform.
Well, then why did Cyberpunk make such a big deal out of their game? That game's been out for that game's actually much older than a lot of these games that are just getting thrown in the port pile.
See, I'm thinking that they actually value this whole concept of like, okay, this is an audience that we've never had access to before. We now will have access to it through this new platform. So we're going to make a big deal out of this. Whereas some of these other publishers are just like, we've done this before. We've ported games before. We've tested this audience before. It hits sometimes, it doesn't hit other times, whatever. I'm just saying that's like I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I do think that they should be marketing their games in this moment where people are excited about a new system and looking for games to play. But it does seem like there is differences in business strategy in terms of these publishers, where some people see Cyberpunk, see the value of getting this new Nintendo audience. Some people just don't. And that is how they made these decisions. That's what I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how the decisions came about.
I mean, that's a game that's on literally every other platform and has been for 5 years. But they went out of their way to show the effort that they'd made into making the Switch version good and the unique features that they had. And people really appreciated it and kind of latched onto that.
Exactly. So
that possibility is there.
Right.
For others who would care to do it.
That is exactly right. For others who will care to do it. But some others do not care. They don't want to. They don't care. They don't see the value for some reason. I don't know why. I'm just saying that they just don't see it, and which is why they didn't do it. Cyberpunk did see it, and I think they were very successful in what they did, and I think people responded correctly in that is a lot of people's number 2 game that they purchased when they bought the system. So they saw the value, and it worked for them. Some of these other publishers just don't see it, don't see the value, and don't want to do it. So I don't know if there's any way around that. I think that is just how they view this. And maybe for the duration of this life cycle, they're just going to port these games over and not do anything. And that's just what it is.
So let's come up with some theories about why the performance was weak for so many games. Because I think we have a couple.
Okay.
One, I think everybody was surprised by the backwards compatibility element of all of this. I don't think people expected that this would be as robust as it was. And I'm not even talking, I mean, yes, there were the Switch 2 editions. We knew about those. There was that handful of games that got a boost randomly. But then this whole other layer of all your other games might just run a little bit better too.
Yeah.
I think that kind of hit the brakes on maybe some spending that people were gonna do.
Absolutely.
Versus I have these other games that I had backburnered because I didn't like the way they performed. Or maybe there was a game that I was gonna buy, but then I saw that it performed badly and now it's better. And maybe I'll get that because maybe that's $20 now.
Yeah.
Because it's a game that's been around for 5 years.
That's right.
So I think it's a great feature. I think it's an important feature. I think it's a feature that people love. But in terms of this whole equation of third parties being doomed, I think that does play some role.
I think so too. I think, again, this, we were talking about when the system comes out and in this sort of 2-ish weeks of launch, what will be the big conversations around Switch 2? What is going to be sort of like the memes and the trends around Switch 2? We couldn't have called this one. The idea that people are testing these super duper old Switch 1 games, you included, watching tons of videos.
This is still something every day I'm watching some video about.
Exactly.
Some old game.
I'm also the same way. I'm very fascinated by this, and I am going back into my very deep backlog of games that maybe I tried for a bit but didn't really get too far in because of performance issues, and replaying them or having a sense of I kind of want to check out more games like this versus buying a Switch 2 exclusive or a Switch 2 game.
Right.
So definitely this idea of people's existing library just being made better by the system itself, and you don't have to even. Some people just have these games. They bought them already,
right?
And they're just sitting there. So many people that we talk to are like, "This is the game I've been sitting on. I can finally."
This is what led to me within the first week of the Switch 2 being out, spending an hour playing Red Faction, which was a game I got on the eShop for $3, but ran kind of like a Switch 2 game.
Yeah.
Nobody saw this coming.
No one saw this coming, but it's an interesting thing about the system, and again, this is what really happens with these kind of iterative systems. This would only be something that would happen because the Switch 2 is an iteration of Switch 1.
That's a good point.
So it is one of those things.
Yeah, if there was some drastically new hook, people would want something that used that.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, look. On the Wii, nobody was playing, oh my gosh, these GameCube games. I'm loving these GameCube games on the Wii. It's they want to use motion control.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dual screen. They want to use the dual screens.
Right.
So because this is a very iterative system, it's almost like the upgrade for these it was like, that was what you were waiting for, to get back to playing on a Switch. Mm-hmm. Regardless of whether it was Switch 1 or Switch 2, just having this available to you was like, oh yeah, I remember why this system is fun.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
We already talked about the port fact. Many of these, again, if you have another system, you've probably played these before and you don't need to buy them again.
The other thing is a lot of these ports are cheaper on the other platforms.
Yeah, because they've been out for a while.
That's right.
Yeah.
They've been out for a while, so they're a significantly lower price than what the price you get on a Switch 2. The Switch 2 versions, like sometimes you do get like all of the DLC included or whatever, like a definitive edition or something like that, which may help to justify the price. But for people that are like, I only have like so much money to spend at launch, that's a significant thing too. It's like not only is this a port of an old game that's been on these other platforms, but it's also more expensive for me to buy here.
Yes. This next point, I don't think we can hammer this hard enough. Like, it's been months and months of people say, oh my gosh, the economy is on the precipice of a collapse, everybody's afraid to spend money, and yet here we are with buying a Switch 2 that costs $500 with $80 Mario Kart, and I'm going to get a Pro Controller, that's $100. It's like, how much money did you think people had to spend on the Switch 2 day one?
Yeah, day one is
Was
tough.
that just rolling up with Benjos and just tossing them out like, oh, you get a Benjo. Oh, you get a, oh yes, give me that. Oh, give me that.
No one, we're not Oprah.
Let me stuff these amiibo into my pillowcase because I'm made of money.
Yeah, like, it's tough. It's a tough ask.
That's my question. What did you think people had to spend on all of this after shelling out just to get the basics for it alone?
Yeah, that's tough.
That's insane. That's insane thinking.
Tough ass.
Like, oh, I needed to get one of everything. Yeah. Like, no.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that.
Yeah, unless you're like really, really, really rich, and even so, you might have some judgment. Like, even if you were like, let's say you were like the richest person ever, you might still have a little pause.
Yeah.
Like, do I need all of these things, or am I just getting it because I'm rich?
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so. Not everybody's rich, obviously.
Right.
So you have more like normal,
So
normal people like us.
20 games at, $60, $70 a pop, plus a $500 system, plus
accessories,
or a memory card. The memory card that you basically must have because most games are downloads.
Yeah.
That's $100 bucks.
Tough. Adds up.
Let's
Adds up.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people are trading in their old systems to even be able to afford this.
So it's like could we get past one paycheck cycle before we had this panic?
2 weeks, yeah.
Before we had this panic over the third party.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh. Well, people only bought one third party. Oh my gosh. The world is ending. The sky is falling.
Yeah, it's a lot to
People
ask.
need to get some more money in their bank account to afford this stuff.
People are
Ridiculous.
Entertainment. This is entertainment.
Ridiculous.
You gotta save up your extra money to be able to pay for this. Like you gotta pay rent first,
Right.
and then you can buy another third-party game, maybe.
Yes.
So it is very difficult to expect that of normal people.
All right, brace yourself because we have to talk about game key cards again and what role
Gird
they
the loins.
they play in all of this. I was listening to the latest Nintendo podcast.
They talked about this a lot,
They spent over an hour talking about this. And we will not spend an hour talking about this. But what is the role of the proverbial game key card?
Well, that's why I was talking about the thing in the beginning, where it's like there is something very specific about this audience, this Nintendo audience. They like the physicality.
Well, this is again. I do have to push back on that because yes, but to some extent there is a line drawn because again, more than half of the sales for Nintendo come from digital.
I think that the more than half on Switch 1 stuff was when the audience sort of expanded from the core fan base into more of like the casual player. And that's when it kind of evened out to be more digital. But I do think that the core Nintendo fan base, which is the people we're talking about right now, that are probably spending thousands of dollars on the hardware, the accessories, and these third-party games, they do prefer physical. These people want to go into a store. They want to, like, we know who these people are. It's you. It's literally look in the mirror. It's you. So I think that because this is a conversation we're having around these launch games, and more than 90% of these launch games were on this game key card, they don't like that. They didn't want to buy it. And they're really, I think a lot of these people that are very passionate about this, they are truly like sticking to their word right now of like, I will not support this, I will not buy this game. So I do see that like playing out right now. And people. And
you have the point about Cyberpunk being the one game that did have a successful launch, and that's
the only third-party game, really. Yeah.
Whereas Rune Factory is the number 3 game. Then they were pure physical. Rune Factory, again, I still don't know what Rune Factory did, where they had the magical cartridge that could play in a Switch 2 or a Switch 1.
What kind of cartridge is that?
I still don't know what kind of deal they made with Nintendo
cool.
to do that. Maybe more people should just do that.
Just do that. That seems neat.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, it definitely.
Yeah, I mean, this has been, ground into the ground so much. Like, we did a whole hour-long video about this before. I will agree that there is some impact. I just am hesitant to commit to, like, oh yes, 50% of people will refuse to buy a game key card because
I didn't say that.
We also heard from a lot of people who said, like, yeah, I don't care. Like, I'm fine with digital.
I think as the audience evens out and grows from this very core, passionate fan base of Nintendo fans that prefer certain things, it will even out and it'll be fine.
I think that's a logical and fair thing to say.
It's very logical.
Yes.
But right now, in the moment of launch, of like when your most passionate fans are getting the system, they're just probably going to skip this for now.
Well, let's maybe let's do this. Let's rank. We have 4 things here, four reasons that we came up with: backwards compatibility, ports, the price, and game key cards. How would you rate those as like, that's actually the reason? Or do you think they're all kind of equally playing a role? I mean, I think the price is the one that stands out to me.
That stands out the most because it's the most like black and white thing.
Can we
whether you have money or not?
Can we revisit this in a month? Like, it's largely going to be the same lineup of games out there.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Is there some other game that was like, oh yes, this was the game that most people wanted to get, but just didn't have enough
money to buy it at the time
on day one?
On day one, yeah. Yeah, price is definitely one that stands out to me, and I think related to price is that the reason that these are ports. From like older games that you can get for cheaper again on these other platforms.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think game keycard might be like the #1 reason why I didn't buy this thing, but also it's one of those things where like if you need more reasons against it, this is gonna fall into that category.
I've just seen people saying like, oh, well, that is the one and only reason why this happened. Game keycard.
I don't think so.
It's like, well, that's probably a factor, but I will not say that it is the factor.
I agree.
Because
I think
we
there's
have
multiple factors here.
We're struggling to rank these. I think they are all have a significant role.
Yeah, it's kind of like the sort of like a butterfly effect of all these things working together.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up with looking into the future.
Yeah.
And saying, all right, so there were some interesting circumstances at the launch, but going forward, are these third-party games truly doomed? And I know you wanted to talk about indies here specifically, which is a component that the Switch 2 didn't really have at launch.
Yeah, Deltarune.
We had Deltarune, but after that, there was kind of nothing that truly indie on day one.
And I would argue Deltarune, while it's an indie game that has broken out.
Right.
From being an unknown indie game to a very known quantity.
It's like an indie plus.
It's like a Shovel Knight.
Right. Like Deltarune, Shovel Knight, anything.
Hollow Knight.
Hades. Hollow Knight. Anything from like a Devolver. Like, those get lumped in with indies. Those are not indies.
That's right.
They do not have the same struggles as a true indie.
That's right. So if you say that about Deltarune, you can say then there were no indies on Switch 2.
Right.
This is a category that I'm truly concerned about. Like, I'm actually not that concerned about the other third-party games. I think in time things will kind of even out and we'll be okay. This launch has been a little rocky for them for sure, but in terms of third-party games breaking out, but I think in time it will kind of have like an evening effect. But indies is an area where I'm truly like actually concerned about, and no one's talking about it, and I don't understand why. I do feel like fundamentally Nintendo's strategy around indies is going to be very different in the Switch 2 generation. I think they are very concerned with things that really show off the capabilities of a Switch 2.
Yes.
And a lot of indie games, not all, but a lot of indie games won't be putting that first and foremost as to why they're making a game. As to why they're making
Deltarune sure didn't.
Deltarune sure didn't. I mean, you and I are playing Deltarune right now, and you said to me the other day, "I love this game, but I would love to play a game."
There are some days where I was like, "Oh, I wish I could
play a graphically challenging
take this sports car out on the road and rev some RPMs." You know?
you got a Ferrari. You're just driving it like 20 miles an hour in a school zone.
Exactly.
Like we're not about to kind of want to take it to the coast, you know. So because Nintendo is very focused on Switch 2 hardware specs, which is very different for Nintendo, I'm getting very concerned that they're not going to be prioritizing indie games because what they want to do from a platform holder perspective is they want games to show off the capabilities of a Switch 2. And a lot of indie games won't do that, in which case Nintendo won't be prioritizing them. I did see that a lot of indie games and even third-party partners, they just aren't getting dev kits at all. And more so many indie developers are telling me, like personally telling me, like
you were just at a big
I was
indie
just
event
at a huge indie event
in Canada, yes.
And probably 99% of these people were saying, I have applied multiple times for a Switch 2
specifically for a Switch 2
dev kit, and I have been rejected. Not just I didn't get an answer.
Turned down.
They have rejected me.
They didn't say why.
No, they're not going to say
it's
why.
just no.
No.
Yeah.
They don't have any. They don't have any. They don't have that many available.
Yeah.
That's the reason why.
Right.
And the ones that they have available, they're giving it to Square Enix.
Right.
They're giving it to the Project CD Project Red. They're not giving it to you, indie developer that's like making your first game. They're not going to give it to you. They don't have any. So it's just impossible for them to even get like a dev kit or even get into Nintendo's program. They're being rejected on large scale from Nintendo's program. So they're not even getting it. And the other thing, too, that's just like different in the way that Nintendo does indie stuff is like they have these channels. They have Indie World. They have the Indie World Twitter, which you oversaw the launch of when you were there. But they're very like high touch in terms of how they pick games to support. They're like hand picking them. There's like a literal person that's like reviewing all these games and like picking the ones that fit with the Nintendo brand. But it's a very like high touch kind of thing. It's not like, they have a bunch of time and a huge team. They have like 2 people doing this. So how many games can 2 people get through? Not very many. So just the sheer matter of like, because they are handpicking these games, it's very different from a Steam, where the algorithm is just doing it. And there's not like some dude, Mr. Steam is not like, scrolling your trailers and playing your demo and handpicking your game. It's just the algorithm is just doing it.
And a lot of the ones they're picking are those Indies Plus that are going to be fine, whether they're in an indie world or not.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like, do they even need Nintendo to help them at these Indie Plus games? Probably not. They're probably going to be fine anyway. They have other publishers that are helping them. So anyhow, it is very scary. And the other thing that is really unfortunate is in the eShop now, it's almost impossible to find these games. So the discoverability has taken a huge downturn.
It's not that different.
We've seen it
than the original Switch eShop if you're not in that kind of top echelon or just to start.
Already, yeah.
Right.
So without
you're just slumming it with the H word games.
Oh,
and
six-letter
games.
games.
And quadruple A clock and everything else. Yeah,
exactly. It's impossible to get discovered. So it's a little bit scary. Nintendo did such a good job with indies on Switch 1. Like they really made it part of the core like strategy for Switch 1 to make it into like a indie machine. Like we used to talk about it within the company. Like, yes, we're so excited. The third-party team is so excited that Switch 1 is now this like indie machine. We've been getting these dev kits out to as many people as possible. We've heard from so many developers, large and small, that Switch is so easy to develop on, so easy to port to. I highly doubt that these are the priorities for them now. And that concerns me a lot because it just sucks for us because now you have to do so much more work to find these hidden gems, And it's really unfair to these indie developers who, again, I see them, I see how talented they are. Their games are so incredible. And it's like, and you just get this sinking feeling in your heart. You're like, you're not going to see the light of day. Like,
and that's why you should buy a Steam Deck instead of a Switch 2.
Whoa.
Let me devil's advocate some of the things that you just said. So no dev kits are available. Okay. You did just spend all this time talking about how people are loving Switch 1 games on the Switch 2 and how those are now more viable than ever before. Why not just make your game for the original Switch?
You should.
because that's what a lot of people did on the PS4.
You should.
You can just play it on the PS5. Nintendo themselves are still making original Switch games. They've announced Switch games, big Switch games.
Yes, they absolutely should do that.
Life into next year. What's the big deal if you can't get a Switch? If you're not going to use the power anyway, if it can run fine on a Switch, maybe optimize it so it gets some sort of a boost on a Switch 2. Why not just do that?
They should. I think that's the only way, really, now, because they won't be getting one.
Yeah, for now, that's a good
what you have to do.
Best practice right now.
Yeah, 100% keep doing that, because or else you're not making any games for Switch.
Yeah, versus like waiting, like we're going to hold our release because you might be holding for a while,
for like years.
Yeah.
So you probably should just make it with your Switch 1 dev kit if you have one of those.
Right. Well, again, for the historic, this is one of those things that through the generations, like. The platform that wins that generation is the one that has most closely aligned with indies. But again, they've relinquished that. So like over the years, the championship belt of indies, Xbox 360, then they gave it up. Then the PS4 picked it up. Then they gave it up. Nintendo picked it up. And
now they're back to Xbox.
So who's Steam. Then Steam is just the all.
Xbox is doing okay too.
Yeah.
They're doing okay.
Yeah.
Better than the other three.
Right. So I just don't get why. Nobody realizes, like, oh, maybe the indies were a reason why we did so well the last year. Maybe we should continue to make that a priority.
Yeah.
Versus just dumping it.
Yeah, they're dumping it right now. Though.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Because they don't think that indies can make games that prioritize the things that they want to talk about with Switch 2.
Right.
So it's going to be tough for indies in the Switch 2 generation.
So it's tough for indies.
Very tough.
But if
we're going to do our due diligence and find these games for you, though.
Yes.
That's right.
Let's say if you are more of the kind of establishment developers and publishers, what is your outlook for them in the next year on the Switch 2? Are you truly concerned about?
No, I'm not.
All of this.
I'm actually not.
I'm not either.
I'm not concerned really for these established third-party, these big publishers. I think that they just needed to even out a little bit. Again, people need to save up some more money. We need to just kind of get out of, and you can argue that once a month Nintendo's going to have a huge game, that will distract people, a huge first-party game that will distract people. I think people have room in their hearts. And they'll have time to also play third-party games. The thing that I really want Nintendo to do that they have not unlocked this for the past, not in the Switch 1 generation, certainly not in the Wii U generation, but they really need to have some day and date third-party games.
Yeah.
These games need to. I understand for launch, that might have been really difficult to do.
Sure.
But in the future,
how can they catch up?
How can they catch up on this and really have games that launch on Switch day and date with these other platforms? Because I think that's going to make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
If it were somebody like me and you gave me all the options, even if the Switch 2 one ran a little bit worse, I'd still buy that.
You'd probably buy that.
I still buy that
one. Even now, the third-party games that we're looking at are games that came out a while ago. Whether that's Metaphor or Assassin's Creed, whichever Assassin's Creed rumor you choose to buy into.
That's right, yeah.
These are all games that have been out for a while, and
Yeah.
if you wanted to play those, maybe you've already played them. So yeah, I agree that getting into that more everything's launching at all platforms on the same day, make your decision. That'll be a better place for them.
That will help the third-party partners too
Yeah.
a lot more, because I think once you understand, and again, they need to learn how to market to the Nintendo audience. But once they understand that, and they have a game coming out day and day, I think they'll see a lot of success.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just had 8 years of proof that third-party games can sell on a Nintendo platform, and there are some differences this time around. But I think a lot of those learnings still apply. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of specialized reasons why the launch was not the hotbed for the third-party games, but I do think things will turn around once we get a little bit deeper into this generation.
I think so too. And I think that, because Switch 1 was so successful because we were talking about how they just never relented in their very steady output of games.
Right.
They had the benefit of porting those Wii U games over to Switch 2. They no longer have that benefit. So guess who has to fill that gap? It is the third-party games.
Right.
And so they need to figure this out.
Right.
And just make sure that these third-party games are a viable part, because or else we are looking at droughts between first-party games. And that is not where any of us want to be.
Well, yeah, you can say like, well, if they're releasing so many games, that's not a good thing. But then, we already saw the upside of that is like so many of those people are very engaged. They're always buying games.
They're always like turning on their system.
Yeah, they're always checking their system for something. It's like, no, that's the opportunity is you have a lot of people who are always turning on that system, looking at the eShop, looking for something new. So find a way to take advantage of that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So that, I think we'll see how it plays out, but our conclusion is no doom and gloom for third-party
We're not
games.
doomed?
We're not doomed. Congratulations.
Good.
You're not doomed.
Well, that's what we think, but we had to take to the streets, and by the streets we mean Patreon.
The mean streets
to get
of
some
Patreon.
more info on this. So we did a poll asking our people on Patreon how many third-party games they bought at launch.
Yes.
And it was very interesting. 44% said I didn't buy any, so 0.
There you go.
31% said I bought 1. 13% said I bought 2, and 12% said I bought more than 2.
Wow.
Very interesting.
I was very intrigued by the high percentage of I didn't buy any.
Yeah. Let's look at some
yeah.
comments and try and learn more. JEP4 said, I'm glad you brought this up. What a dumb hot take to focus on during the 2 weeks following the release of a console. Did they expect that people would rush out to repurchase old games finally ported to the Switch? No matter how popular many of these games are, we've played them already. I've got a new console and plenty to keep me busy for a few weeks. I've just spent $550, plus I've spent about $60 on pre-orders for game upgrades, and $70 on Donkey Kong Bonanza pre-orders. I just recently bought Fantasy Life, and of course I've got Mario Kart World. I am busy.
This is
well said.
Such a well said and like probably representative of a lot of people right now in this moment.
Yes. Nix says, I had a shopping frenzy on the first days of the Switch 2. I don't own any other console, so I was really eager to get back on my couch and play some new games. I got Street Fighter 6, Yakuza 0, Kunitsugami, which I've already finished, plus the upgrades for Hogwarts Legacy and Fantasy Life. I love them equally, and I'm a bit surprised at these bad sales numbers. So here we have somebody who has no other comparable consoles.
Right.
So it's like, these are great games. So.
And they've probably been saving them lots of money because they didn't buy all those other games on the other consoles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense too. And then finally, ElfSong713 said, I bought the Mario Kart bundle and I didn't buy any of the third-party launch titles. I may play a few smaller third-party games on the Switch 2, but for me, PS5 is probably still going to be the console for big third-party games.
There you go. So then this person is just splitting their
So we have 3 people with 3 very different
habits
responses to this question, which is, I think, the truth of the matter. So
exactly.
It's always perilous to try and make a declarative. This is
the why.
This is the one.
How.
This is the one reason.
Yeah. I like seeing the differences in how people treat third-party games and why they play certain things on a Switch platform or Switch 2 or whatever. It's an interesting thing to see.
Yeah. If you want to vote in these polls, you can join us at patreon.com/KitandKrysta. Even folks in the free tier get to vote in these polls every week. So you can check it out.
We just want more people to vote.
Give us
a bigger sample size.
These are so interesting every week to read through all these responses.
We have a good sample size now, but it'd be great to have more of you guys join so we can really survey you.
Exactly. Let's talk about some games we are playing. And we're going to talk about Deltarune first, carefully, because this is our spoiler cast game. We're recording this in 2 days' time. It's going to be out.
Almost done.
Well, I've got some news for you. I am done.
Oh, baby.
Yes,
Okay,
I wrapped up.
Say less.
I wrapped up chapter 4 last night. This is not the end of Deltarune. There are many more chapters to come. I think we're at about the halfway point.
You said 7 or 8 total chapters?
Yes. Actually, this is not a spoiler, but in the credits, it's like halfway. They mentioned they mentioned being about halfway.
Oh, interesting.
In there.
Oh, I love that. Okay,
so,
that's great.
We're going to focus on the 4 chapters that we have for the spoiler cast, but kind of has been the trend. This is the same with chapters 1 and 2. Every chapter does kind of have a unique kind of vibe and feel and thematic to it, and chapter 4 is no different. So I know you've got a little bit to go to wrap things up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to mostly spend the rest of the time just revisiting some things, and I'm going to check out a few things on YouTube that maybe I missed.
Some story explainers maybe.
Right.
Things around the themes of the games.
Exactly.
And the chapters.
And there is some extra bonus content that I want to make sure that I've at least seen to some extent.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Great.
Are you going to
that's
finish
exciting.
in time? Are you going to finish in time?
I think so.
I think so.
I'll probably check in with you after we record so I don't spoil anything. But I have a place where I am in the game, and I think that's probably where you were yesterday.
Okay.
And you said you had about 2+ hours left. So I think that's where I am now. It's probably hopefully finished tonight.
Okay.
I am very impressed that each of the chapters, especially chapter 3 and 4, just have such a different feeling. And I do think chapters 3 and 4, like you can see, like, you know, Toby Fox and team, they're like pushing the boundaries a bit in terms of like the scope of this game. Chapter 4 is visually beautiful.
It's really nice, yeah.
And it reminds me so much of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. You know how they had like that like sort of cathedral looking kind of vibe. It reminded me of that a little bit, and I really loved it. But yes, getting close to the end of that. I'm excited to do the spoiler cast. We're definitely going to have to do the we'll lock in the secondary spoiler cast when the rest of these chapters come out, whenever they will come out. But it'll be fun. This will be a fun one for us to do because I think we'll want to talk about like everything in these 4 chapters and maybe even make some predictions for what we think is going to happen for the rest of the game, which is kind of different for us since this is not a finished game. But I love this game. I love it so much. Every time I play it, there's just so many emotions that kind of run through you as you play this game. Like you're laughing one moment, and in one moment you're saying the "oh," you know, or you're getting like very like deep dialogue about something one moment, and then something completely random happens in the next. And I don't know how it's put together in this way. Like it's just really amazing how like it's such this like intricately put together kind of experience where you have all these like emotional highs and lows. And I think it's just awesome. It's so unique. Nothing is like this game, you know? So
the game that I'm going to check out a bit more tonight is Ruffy and the Riverside.
Oh yes, our precious Ruffy.
Yes. So this is an indie game that's coming out this week. It's for the Switch 1, but I've been playing it on the Switch 2. We checked it. This was a Steam Next Fest game earlier in the year, and we talked about the demo.
That's awesome. We played it. We have a gameplay video for this game.
Yes, we do, up on Patreon, so you can check that out. But this is the full game. I'm only a couple hours into it since we've been juggling so many things, but I really like it a lot. And I can see a lot of the progress from the demo. Like, the proper people will need to do the analysis of it on a Switch 1 versus a Switch 2, but I'm really impressed with the quality of it on the Switch 2. Like, it looks really good.
Yeah. The game has a really unique art style, so I'm sure it looks really cool on the Switch 2.
It looks like an upgrade to me, even from that demo that I played on the Steam Deck a couple months ago. So, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you could tell me it's a Switch 1 game, or you could also tell me it's a Switch 2 game.
And I'd be able to tell.
It looks really nice in either way. Something I'm really appreciating. So I guess I should say, so this is like a 3D platformer that again has this very unique, like almost Paper Mario meets a 3D Mario game platformer.
Right. Yeah.
But you have this interesting hook where you can like absorb textures from the environment and apply them to different things.
It's really cool. It's a very unique mechanic.
You can take like a rock texture and apply it to a tree and make a rock tree.
Yeah, or like the waterfall into a vine.
Exactly.
So you
can climb it. The demo was pretty focused on some very self-contained levels that felt very like Mario 64. It was like, oh, now I'm going into the painting.
You collect stars and stuff as well.
And now I'm in that, and then I come back into the overworld. But it ended on this big reveal of like, oh no, look, there's this huge world out there for you to explore. And it was a great cliffhanger for them to end that demo on. And something I was surprised about was in the full game, they actually start you out in that open world. Like I haven't gone back to any of those levels that I did in the demo yet. So I was actually really glad by that because every time you play a demo, it's like, oh, I have to replay I have to redo this thing that I already did. So no, like I've been doing all new stuff, which is great. And in this open world that I was so excited to check out.
Yeah, that flyover of the open world they do at the very end of the demo was such a tease because you're like, wait, that's how big it is?
Right.
So that's really cool that you get to start there, which is really nice for, are you just being able to explore right away, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
So I'm really liking it a lot. The platforming feels good. There's a lot of like charm to the characters.
He's very cute.
In the world. The characters are very cute.
Ruffy is adorable.
It's a very colorful game. It's got a lot of whimsy to it, which I appreciate. I am interested to see longer term, like the mechanic of the absorbing and applying things. Sometimes they want you to do it. Sometimes you don't need to do it. There is also a bit of a learning curve to understand like what can be applied to what, because you can't just mix and match everything. You can't take water and apply it to a tree, and the water just the tree just turns into water and melts. Like you can't do that.
Right.
You just
what are the limitations of this?
You kind of need to learn the rules of what the game has given you.
Yes.
But they don't explicitly say like, oh well, you can't mix it. You just have to do it.
Right.
To figure that out. So that is something that I'm curious to see longer term, is like how essential are they making this mechanic versus just normal platformer stuff.
Cool.
But
yeah.
I'm very excited to go back to it. I'm really liking it a lot.
Yeah. I love it. I started Raidou Remastered.
I don't know what this is. Please tell me about Raidou.
I really didn't know.
Raidou.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. But I don't know much about the series at all. But was very curious to check that. The premise of it really like got me. It's like you are some kind of detective. I was like, ooh, detective. I like that.
Yeah.
And it is a Atlas game. So once again, I'm like, ooh, Atlas game. I like this. So basically, you are this like detective, and you have these supernatural powers where you can like defeat demons, and also you can also like recruit the demons to come and like fight with you.
So this is a Shin Megami Tensei kind of spin-off game.
Yes, which I again don't have too much experience.
I just pulled it. It looks like it was originally a PS2 game. So from
right. It is remastered.
So it's like it's a 20-year-old game. Basically.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not too far in this game yet. I just finished sort of the beginning area, but it's very intriguing so far. It's very like fast-paced action. You have a lot of different like attacks, and you can do like sort of a gun attack as well, with a very interesting aiming mechanic that I kind of like.
How does that work?
It's like you hold down the button, so the screen pops up where you're aiming, where it's like all your bullets are in a circle, and then you like have this reticle, and then if you hold it down, it becomes like multiple reticles. So you have to like manage your bullets and the way that you're shooting. It's very interesting.
Oh.
I've already recruited a few demons to help me.
Yeah.
Some of the demons are very sexy.
And they come into your battles?
They're like in your little party now. And
But do they kind of do their own thing while you're fighting?
You can tell them to do stuff. So I have 2 right now in my little party. And I can press a button and one does like a special attack. The other one can like kind of buff you or heal you, which is kind of nice. I just got to, so I kind of went through the beginning area of this game, and then I got to the detective agency where I'm supposed to like join this detective agency. So I haven't seen like what sort of the in-between battle gameplay is going to be like. I wonder if there is some sort of like solve a mystery kind of situation or not. But but I'm very intrigued by this.
It says it takes place in like 1920s Japan. How prominent is that setting?
Pretty prominent, like the very like the look of it. It has like that kind of like like that 20s era, like Taisho. What is it, Taisho era?
Taisho.
Yeah, like that kind of style.
Okay, I'm getting kind of interested in this.
It has it's very Atlas, where it feels like cool somehow.
Right.
I'm not cool enough for you. Like that kind of feeling. Like, you're cool, but I'm not that cool. And I'm like, it's very stylish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of like it. Like, I'm very surprised. I did not have any knowledge of this going into it.
Right.
I wasn't sure what I was expecting, but I'm kind of into it. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep playing. I'm intrigued by this.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good.
Wow.
It was very good.
Nice.
Yeah. Bravely Default? You've been playing some Bravely Default?
No, I haven't had a chance to get to it yet.
I played a little bit of Bravely Default. I did boot up the just the main game to check it out. It's beautiful. It looks nice. But I did go back to some of those mouse games.
Yes.
Because again, I was lamenting last week. I'm like, I haven't really gotten an opportunity to use this mouse.
Oh, yeah.
So I did use the mouse a bit more and played some more of those games, and I did it by myself this time because before when we were playing.
Was it easier or harder to do?
It was way harder.
To do by yourself?
Yeah, I was like, I need you to come back and use left mouse.
Oh, because it's like left brain, right brain.
You'd be like
stuff?
left shark and right shark.
Oh,
we needed to do that again. But I was like, oh yeah, let me try the mouse in my own home because I haven't done that really that much yet in my own just my couch. I might have a very like a leather couch. So I was
How did you do too?
I just put it on the couch. I just sat on the couch, just next to me, and that was fine.
That was fine.
Yeah, my couch is not like furry or bumpy. It's like a leather couch.
Smooth. Okay.
So I think that's why it worked okay. But I like it. I like the mini games for this. I don't think I need to replay Bravely Default because I played so much of that game on 3DS.
How does it look though?
It looks really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it has the game has that kind of like watercolory style. So I don't know if that's helping it look better.
Right.
But it definitely looks nice.
But you're not like, oh yeah, this is a 3DS game that they.
No. It doesn't.
I remember this game does have some scenes where the camera's very pulled out.
It is. You have like teeny people.
I would like to see those.
Yeah. I don't know if I've gotten to those yet. I did a little tabletop mode too with my mouse and my.
Oh yeah.
That's good. I've been liking tabletop mode quite a bit lately.
Right.
The screen is big enough where you can see some stuff.
Well, since you're allergic to a television, I guess that's the way to do it.
I didn't want to go into my office to play it on that screen because that's where I have my dock set up. So I'm done working now.
See?
Just want to sit
You're
on
never
the couch.
going in there again.
On the couch. I'll go in there if I really need to.
Okay.
But not usually.
All right.
Yesterday we were at Target looking for the Donkey Kong demo, and I said I wanted to get that Carmen Sandiego game.
Yes. Did you get it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
I looked it on the eShop. It was on sale.
How much?
It was like $30 for the entire thing. Like not just the base game, but all the DLC.
Oh, there was DLC.
It was like a deluxe edition.
Game of the Year edition, Carmen Sandiego?
I hope so. Well, you're right. Carmen Sandiego and her outfit looks just like Pauline.
Exactly.
So I think my brain really did a whole gymnastics cycle. So I was thinking about Donkey Kong, obviously, and I was thinking about Pauline, and I was like, oh, I love Pauline so much. And then we were at the Target, and I saw the game, the physical game, and I was like, wait, I remember seeing this game in a direct.
Oh, really?
Yes. And then I was like, I want to see if this game is on the eShop for maybe it's on sale.
Sure.
And then I went to the eShop, and it was on sale.
Cool.
And then I saw the developer is Gameloft. Which we love Gameloft.
Right.
So I was like, yes, I'm so in on this. So then I bought it. I haven't played it yet.
Oh, you haven't started?
I haven't started yet. I bought it this morning.
So what was the DLC for it?
I think extra missions maybe?
That really does look like Pauline. Wow.
Doesn't she look just like Pauline? So I don't know if you've ever played these games before.
Now tell us. Yeah, I bet not everybody.
Are you like
is familiar.
into Carmen Sandiego?
Me?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Do you remember this when you were a kid?
I vaguely remember.
So there was
a TV show.
It was a TV show
I
didn't
watch that.
I absolutely I was obsessed with the TV show. And I played this game on my PC. I used to play this on my PC all the time.
I think that's what I remember it as.
But I think the only reason my mom got this for me is because it's education. It's educational because you learn geography and stuff. And there is a Netflix show that I watched as well that's quite good.
Is that what this is based on visually?
Yes, I believe so. I believe so. Yeah, the visual looks very similar to the Netflix show. So, anyways, I like her. I think it's cool. It's kind of like, she's like a spy, right? And the whole premise is that you can solve these mysteries and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I assume in the PC version of the game, it was these quizzes. You would take these geography tests.
Based, yeah.
Yeah, and it's okay, now you have to find the criminal. Where is this person located? And you're like, it's in the jungles of the Amazon.
Right.
This is your first clue. It's a place where these kinds of vegetation exist. This is your second clue, whatever. So, I like these kind of detective-y kind of games. So I figured I would like this.
Yeah.
So I might as well buy it.
I'm looking for IGN gave it a 7. Shocked. I'm utterly shocked that IGN gave something a 7.
Wow.
Mix of puzzle solving, quick time events, third-person top-down exploration, and trivia.
There
All
we go.
That could be fun.
Could be fun.
Yeah.
So I got this game, and then while I was, again, taking a little stroll
Oh,
through the eShop,
wow.
I got another game.
Whoa. What is
It was only
it?
$6.
What is it?
It's called...
I can't wait to hear this.
It's called Potion Craft.
Oh, I saw this one.
And I saw this in an indie world,
Yes,
I believe.
I remember
and
this.
I remember thinking this game looks so cool, but I wanted to have it go on sale.
What was the original price?
It was like 90% off, so
Oh.
the original
Wow.
price was,
Okay.
I don't know what it was, but it's only $6 right now, so it's great. I really like the aesthetic of this
This
game.
is like those other games.
I know!
This is a Pentiment.
I do have a particular...
You really do like this.
I like that kind of stuff.
It's cool though.
I love like...
So what do you do in this?
You collect stuff to make potions. But it definitely has like that kind of aesthetic that I like, where it's like this like kind of illuminated manuscript.
This is just like a vibey Geralt. This is the vibey Witcher, is what this is. What in the world?
But I love this like fairy tale, like drawn book kind of style.
Right.
I'm just trying to recapture my childhood, guys. That's what I'm doing.
So you've not started this either.
I have not started. Oh yeah, see, it was $19.99.
Right.
Now it's
But
65% off.
Now I'm envisioning this as like a puzzle game of like putting the right thing in the
There's
kettle.
a gathering aspect though too.
You're going out into
You're going out. There was a
Okay.
guy with a basket, which I really liked.
Oh, a basket.
A very vibey basket, like a farmer's market basket.
This
And
art, the artwork is really nice.
it's beautiful, isn't
My
it? Don't you
gosh.
think it's beautiful? I think so too.
Maybe I should get this.
$6.99, can't go wrong.
See what IGN had to say about that. 7.
7 out of 7.
Got a 6 on Nintendo Life.
Oh,
no.
no.
Oh no.
I don't care.
4.5 on Steam. The
you
people.
go.
The people have spoken.
The people have spoken.
The people love it.
Look, I got a lot of reviews on Steam. 32,000
I think this
reviews.
game was well received. Yeah.
There you go. So, anyways, those are the two pickups I
Well, that's exciting.
just this morning as I
Wow.
was strolling the eShop.
That's a thrill. Okay.
That was a little bit of a thrill.
I just gave you a new eShop
You did. You gave
card.
me an eShop card. Thank you.
So of course you're got a hole
gonna-
burning in your pocket
I'm
now.
gonna blow it all in Potion Craft. I'm gonna blow it all right now.
Carmen
And where in the world is
Sandiego.
Carmen Sandiego? This is what happens when someone gives me something. It's like, oh, now I don't have to think about it. I'm just gonna get what I actually want instead of like, I should probably get this like AAA game.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I actually want to play Carmen Sandiego and Potion Craft.
should.
That's what I actually want.
You should.
You know what? Why not? We shouldn't feel guilty
Treat
about
yourself.
our
No.
game taste.
Do what you like.
I want to look at an illuminated
But
manuscript.
you have to 100% welcome tour before you can do anything else.
Well-
and you also now need 100% Raidou before you can even think.
I'm going back to Raidou.
You might maybe we can do a virtual game card share with Raidou because I'm a little curious about that. But whenever
Yes, yes,
you're
yes.
ready, whenever you're ready.
Of course, we can game card share anything.
That sounds fun. Let's
Wow.
talk about the news. We this morning woke up to some earth-shattering news
On Nintendo Today.
on Nintendo Today.
Yeah.
Dragon Drive is launching on August 14th for the hot price of $19.99.
That's right, there you go.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Very inexpensive.
Another piece of the puzzle of all these launch dates falls into place. This is right smack dab middle of August.
We truly predicted this already. August date for a Dragon Drive. Kind of obvious.
The price is pretty much what I expected.
Yep, I was thinking between
well.
$20 to $25 seemed right to me.
I've seen a lot of people expressing some concern of like, what is the content of this versus just playing people online? I think that's a fair concern
Yeah.
to have. I'm not, from what I've seen, I'm not.
Is there a single player mode?
I mean, it might be you just against the computer
Oh, I see.
or something. I mean,
Local multiplayer? Yes.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they probably got that.
This is a digital only eShop game.
Yes,
as well.
eShop
So,
only.
yeah.
I'm not sure I'm getting this. I will wait. This will be a game time decision, as they say.
Yeah.
I'll see what reviews are, see what people say, and
Could be fun.
it could be fun.
It looks a little bland.
but it could be a little basic.
It does look a little bland.
Right.
Yeah. Let's game time decision this.
Yeah. Does this the fact that they announced this?
Mm-hmm.
How does this make you feel about Summer Direct Watch 2025?
Summer Direct Watch is getting lower and
It's
lower.
getting shakier now with
Yeah,
each.
with the Donkey Kong Direct happening
Yeah.
in that June spot, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, interesting. I mean, I get why they needed to do that. The game is coming out.
Is
in a
everything
month.
just a Nintendo Today drop now?
Drip feed on
Yeah.
Nintendo Today?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think it could be.
It could be. It actually could be because they don't really have. They got to tell us Metroid.
Metroid is the big one.
I mean, it's out now according to the UK.
In the UK.
The UK Underground says it's out now.
If you are in the tube, you can buy and play Metroid Prime.
But only in the tube.
Only in the tube. That's like going into another dimension, yes. Meanwhile, Nintendo UK, they're at the pub.
They've been on a bank holiday, and that's why.
As the saying goes, you what, mate?
Slipped through the cracks, huh, guys?
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh well. Yeah. So then, the only really other one they do need to announce is Metroid Prime.
Well, I mean, there's Kirby Air Riders.
Yeah, but
there's other stuff.
It's your point.
Well, they're all just 2025 games. So
Hyrule.
Imprisonment. There's still several games that need dates.
So wait, hold on. Which are the ones that need dates again? Hyrule, Age of Imprisonment, and
Hyrule, Metroid,
and Kirby Air Riders.
I think those are the
only
those
three
are the
left.
three big ones that we've still got.
Right.
There's a lot of direct rumors circulating. I don't know how much I believe all of them.
Yeah.
A lot of heat around Animal Crossing. Some sort of Animal Crossing teaser.
Oh, interesting.
Are you buying into that?
No.
I'm not. They're not done modeling those toilets?
Learn from Hitman.
That was in the game business today.
That's hilarious. I immediately thought of that, and then you sent me a text, and I was like, yes. I was literally...
The head of IO who does Hitman, and he was like, there was one game where we spent so much time modeling toilets, like I knew we had a problem, and like that's how we're making more sustainable AAA games now. It's like, please send this to the Animal Crossing team, who's been toiling away for years modeling toilets.
But my response to that is none of those toilets that they showed in the Hitman games
what?
are gold or a Toto.
Well, now you need 100% Hitman to confirm that. So add that to your list.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
I'll be doing that while you're in France.
Good.
Looking at a toilet.
Examining a toilet
in Hitman.
As a man with a barcode on the back of his head. Great. So yeah, I now lean maybe a bit more towards there is no summer. I mean, there could be a partner thing, there could be an indie thing, there could be something else. But
still yet to find out about these Xbox games, huh? Have you given up hope on that?
I guess no, because they said Call of Duty 2025. Get ready, it'll happen. Maybe it's more of a September thing now.
Maybe it's more of a September. That's late.
For not for everything, but for some things.
It feels so.
But Metroid's the one they need to make a big deal out of. Because there's still so much we don't know about Metroid.
Yeah.
You can't do this.
Where's our title direct?
You can't just do what they did with Dragon Drive.
I want to see the
for
title
Metroid.
direct.
Yes.
Where is that at?
I don't know. Maybe there isn't one. Why? I don't know.
So many years have passed. We have no title direct.
I need to see them step up the efforts on Metroid right now. That's what I need.
Yeah, I would love to.
The other stuff, I'm fine waiting.
I keep forgetting about Metroid because
the problem.
Because they don't ever want to mention it.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay.
This next story is an interesting one that happened over the weekend. So Masahiro Sakurai did an interview with IT Media Business Online, which is a Japanese outlet. I don't know why he was talking to them, but he did. Mm-hmm. And some people did kind of automated translations of the Japanese interview, and they were running with this line. Super Smash Bros. Director Masahiro Sakurai says large-scale game development is becoming too time-consuming and unsustainable. He believes generative AI is an option to improve work efficiency. And of course, that was not well received, and there was much consternation. But then people who actually spoke Japanese, who maybe could have been consulted in the first place, piped up and said, well, that's not exactly what it says. These people pointed out that the article is being very mistranslated, and what it's supposed to say is that Sakurai is lamenting the current direction of the industry and that AI is an option that some developers are choosing.
Right.
So that's a pretty different takeaway versus get on the AI train.
Is it ironic that
check out my token? I could check out my meme coin.
Yeah. Is it
Smashball meme coin? Get on this.
Is it ironic that they used probably AI
they
to
used
translate
AI
an article about
yes.
what someone said about AI and
right.
then got a mistranslation?
Yeah. I mean, this is something we've known for a long time. Is like these automated translation things don't work well with Asian languages.
No,
for whatever reason, like that is still not
tough for them.
Not great
to do it. Yeah. I mean, it is. It was a moment of like, here's this headline that now is getting picked up everywhere of what he was saying, which was not contextually correct
right.
in terms of what he actually said. That is just annoying.
The whole day on a Saturday morning, I was like, Sakurai's going to be mad when he wakes up and sees this.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be really mad, and there's going to be some tweet of like,
heads are going to roll.
I'm never going to do an interview again.
Yeah, heads are going to roll.
You have misinterpreted what I said.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the solution is for this, though. Because people will continue to know languages that are not English and do interviews in those languages, and people will want to know what they said.
Exactly. It's a global world that we live in.
And unfortunately, there's a rush to be
first
to post something. To
post the hottest next, tweet or whatever.
Exactly. So I don't know what the solution here is.
Yeah.
And there were some outlets that were pointing out, like, we used to have people who spoke Japanese on staff, and because everything is now so streamlined, aka everybody got laid off, they're not here. So nobody knows what the truth is. Ooh. I don't have a solution for this, unfortunately.
Dang, that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, the state of media, shakier than ever. That's why you just gotta, everyone...
And random people on the internet is also very shaky.
Who are not news outlets.
Continues to be shaky.
Who are not actual journalists.
Right.
This is another cautionary tale in that you should really corroborate your source material for stuff. Like, make sure that you're actually getting the news from the actual source, and if it's translation, make sure it's translated from the correct source, because then you don't subject yourself to misinformation. Like, a lot of people probably read the false kind of misinterpreted headline and kind of freaked out, about the future of games made by Sakurai. Yeah. Which you didn't have to do that if you just looked at the source. I don't know. So.
Yeah. This last one you wanted me to add, it is about an interesting, the Metacritic horse race, as it was.
Oh, no.
So for a long time, Clear Obscure Expedition 33 was the best reviewed game of the year, clocking in at a 93, but no more. Now, the top...
Unseated.
It's been unseated by 2 games, the Switch 2 versions of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, which have a 95 and a 94.
Are they eligible for GOTYs this year?
I mean, everything's eligible, but it's not winning a GOTY.
This is is DLC considered a GOTY game of the year material?
Oh, no.
We're back to that, baby.
We're not doing that again. No, I don't think anybody's...
I'm totally kidding.
I don't think this is... But I mean, people were legit mad about that last year.
I'm being contrarian.
Remember, what was that for?
Elden Ring.
The Elden Ring, yes.
Which that DLC was so good, I wish it had one GOTY. Just kidding. Oh man! What?
No. But I have seen some people being genuinely like, "Oh, the Metacritic shouldn't list this. This is
whatever."
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
I mean, this is just, it's fine. It's okay.
Coming in hot on the Metacritic is Death Stranding 2.
Was it
which
90
is
now?
About there are still reviews coming. It's between like an 89 and a 90, which is a good step. It's a good step up from original Death Stranding.
I'm very interested in this game now.
Well, you said you have a friend who's basically Sean is demanding
retribution
that you play it.
I demanded that Sean play Expedition 33, which he loved.
But he liked it, right?
He said it's one of his favorite games he's ever played, and now he's like, you need to play Death Stranding because I love that game.
He liked the first one.
I want you to play a game that I recommend to you.
I was pretty out on Death Stranding.
Should I play it?
But some of the things that I've been reading about it make it like, well, maybe
it's kind of appealing.
Maybe it's not as nonsensical in ways as
How
the
much
last
of the
one.
baby will I see?
I don't know. My feeling is less. I have not seen the baby out there as much in what they've been sharing.
Can someone in the comments that played are playing Death Stranding 2 or whatever, can you tell me how much of baby there is?
Right.
If there's more than like 10% baby,
and maybe how many cameras shoved down a throat with a baby inside a stomach do we have?
That happens in the first game?
How many of those are there?
Oh no!
You saw that.
Oh yeah.
You saw that. You didn't like that.
I really don't like the baby. So if there's not. I don't have to see it.
Yeah. I need to play it if for no other reason than for the vistas.
You said it was like Vista. It's a beautiful Vista.
It's a top tier Vista game.
Yeah.
And this next game obviously looks very, very beautiful.
And you said that it's also a bit relaxing to kind of like run around the world.
I found it pretty relaxing.
And the music is good.
I think they changed people doing the music from 1 to 2, but I expect it'll still be good.
Might buy it.
Again, like Kojima Unleashed, I do struggle sometimes with his storytelling.
Yeah.
But I do want to check this out. I don't think I'll get it now. I might wait see if it gets on sale closer to the holidays, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, put it back on the. I should check this out. Back on the list if I should check this out.
All right.
Yes, back on.
Back on the list. Back to turning on my PS5.
Yeah, so good for them.
Great.
All right, let's wrap up with some questions from our Patreon community. Again, we get all of these from patreon.com/Kit and Krysta. So sign up and ask us a question. Let's start with a question from Fantastic Tick. Greetings from Belgium, home of Larian Studios, developers of one of the best games of the past 25 years. Right, Krysta?
Right.
Next month, I'll be taking my 78-year-old mother on a road trip in the U.S., starting and finishing in San Francisco.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
I'll be visiting the Nintendo store, of course, and it will be my first one. Because, as you well know, we have nothing in Europe. No stores, no theme park, no events.
Oh.
Do you know why Europe seems to be an afterthought for Nintendo? Is it because we are a collection of countries with different languages and they already have to bother with localization? By the way, I'm very grateful for first-party games that are now in Dutch. My kids can actually understand what's going on.
Oh,
is it because Nintendo Europe is a collection in itself? We have Nintendo Benelux, for example, for Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Maybe Europe is just not considered as one market, or maybe we are just not buying enough Nintendo stuff. Add to the list, people said, well, you're trying to find a Donkey Kong demo. We don't have any of those at all. We have no retail kiosks.
At all.
Period. So...
Ouch.
Add that to the pile for poor Europe here.
Ouch.
We've talked about this a fair amount.
We have.
But do you have a definitive shut the door, here's the reason?
It's not a definitive shut the door, but it is just so much harder, I think, for the European team to serve all of these different countries. I do think it is challenging.
Well,
for
what is
them.
that? How does that impede them from opening the Nintendo Paris store that I could be visiting in a week?
Would you want to do that?
I would go to that.
Really?
Yes.
Wait in the line at the Parisian.
I would go to that.
Bonjour,
Who do you think you're talking? Who do you think you're talking to?
Bonjour, Nintendo.
And you would ask me to bring back this thing. Yeah.
If I have a Paris thing, huh?
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I would like that. Anyways, yeah. I mean, it just doesn't seem like there is a lot of interest in Europe.
Here, let me share a potential theory. Again, this is not anything that we were told or heard, but so there are laws in Europe that limit how much your workers can be worked. And we would often hear like, well, I can't do this because it's against the law for us to work on the weekend or on a holiday. And then as we know, they do have a lot of holidays. I'm jealous. I wish we had that many holidays. And quite frankly, getting a lot of things done at Nintendo requires going supremely above and beyond, like working myself to a very unhealthy degree. They do that in Japan. They do that in America. But in Europe, they draw the line. Of like, yes, it's cultural, but it's also like,
legally.
That's always good to have at your back. Hey, it's illegal.
Yeah. They used to say that to us a lot.
It's like, I don't want to do it, and guess what? It's illegal. So
Yeah.
you can't, and people are like, oh, yes, we will respect the laws of
Your country.
whatever country
Yeah.
you are in. So knowing, it's like, yes, Nintendo runs a tight ship. It's the same worldwide. In Europe, like that could be a barrier to like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this huge undertaking to open this, to do this thing that we've done in these other countries.
Yeah.
Because people are signing up like crazy in the USA. They're, yeah, I'll work myself to death, no problem. Sounds great. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, we don't have that kind of...
I'd love to work a 100-hour week. Yes.
I know, we don't have that type of like...
I'd love to not have a Christmas and New Year holiday to work on a Nintendo Direct. Yes, that's going to be awesome.
I can't wait
It's going to be awesome.
To give my life to you on a silver platter.
Yeah.
The other thing is that like there is this stigma. I don't know if it's a stigma. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't live in Europe, so I don't know. But there is this idea of like, you know, like we saw those. I watched thousands of documentaries about, you know, Disneyland Paris being a complete failure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everyone says that, you know, this is a theme park that was completely a fail, you know, because that is just not the habits of the people that live there. They just don't do these kinds of things. I don't know if that's true or not, but based on those documentaries and based on the fact that Disneyland Paris is truly a failure.
Is it still a failure?
I think it's still not great.
Okay.
Compared to the other parks that they have, around the world, probably one of the lowest performing ones.
Right. It is interesting, like when you're in Europe, like you don't see a lot of game stuff to the same extent. Japan is the far end of the spectrum. You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
The U.S. is more towards the middle, but in
Right.
Europe, like I just don't see. That's why you were asking me, like, oh, are you gonna like vlog anything while you're there? It's like I don't expect to see much.
Yeah.
So-
yeah. Exactly. The times that I've been, in Europe, I've seen a little bit, but just not to the extent. Like
Right.
there's obviously like some places that have like a game store or something like that,
Yeah.
but just doesn't seem to be like culturally penetrated.
But in France specifically, every year they do have that event called the Japan Expo,
Yes.
which we would hear about and they would send developers to,
Right.
and we understand it's like this is a
a
scale.
big deal.
This is an event that's on the scale of like a San Diego Comic-Con, which
Right.
is a massive, massive event, and that you hear all the time of like, oh my gosh, like culturally, artistically, there's so much that is aligned between Japan and France specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make it happen.
Culturally?
Yes. I mean, it's not the same, but it's like there are some similarities between. I don't know. We have a lot of people, who watch and listen and on Patreon who are from Europe. Maybe they can give us more insight,
more insight.
into that
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
But
Just from my, the dozen times I visited Europe.
right, I'm just trying to debunk. Maybe in some countries more than others, but again, Nintendo Paris store seems like a slam dunk that should have happened years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see it, but I feel like Nintendo is hesitant because there are these kinds of stigmas around whether or not culturally that would be something appealing to the people there. To the broader.
Do you think that's somebody in NOE that's saying?
No, I think that's somebody in Japan saying that.
I don't believe that. I think they're saying, let's go. Let's do it.
No, I don't think
Let's do
they're
it.
saying
Let's
that
do
at
it
all.
now.
I don't think so. I think they're like, oh, we've seen, these other brands kind of fail in these markets where they've been very successful in, Japan or Asia or
On whatever trip
the US.
Nintendo's on now, you think like, oh yeah, we can't cut it in Paris. We can do it everywhere else, but we can't do it in Paris.
I don't know. Then why won't they do it?
I just gave you some reasons. Well, what's your answer then?
My answer is I don't think Japan wants to do it. That's my answer.
You know how much they love to go to Europe? They love these trips. They love checking that stuff out.
It's different when you're there. It's almost like a vacation versus a work thing.
Yeah, you know who it's a vacation for? Somebody in Japan who's got to go help out.
It's not really a vacation.
It is for them. What are you talking about
I
right
don't
now?
know.
I strongly disagree with what you're saying, so let's move on. Gartooth, do you believe in the fan speculation that K. Rool is in Donkey Kong Bonanza? I will summarize some of the things fans have noticed in the game from what's been shown. The most common enemy type used by Voidco are crocoids, which are stone golems that, when destroyed, reveal a gold skeleton of a crocodile underneath.
Oh.
Pauline's lyrics to the start of the direct say, when the world was so cruel and bleak, the lyrics to Pauline's songs could be seen as a tease. Like in Odyssey, her lyrics in Jump Up Superstar teased going to the moon. Void Kong is seen as a suspicious character, the word void meaning something is invalid. He is also the only Kong whose name doesn't end in a Y, like Donkey, Cranky, Grumpy, or Poppy. He is stylized with gold, most notably his gold teeth. You can see the veins bulging in his eyes, and there was a bit that got cut off talking about how K. Rool is a master of disguise.
You did say that the King K. Rool amiibo worked in the game. And if...
Yes, that was one that they kind of singled out
Yeah.
as a Donkey Kong amiibo that would work.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm super moved by any of these fan theories.
Reasons? Yeah.
But I would not rule it out. I think that would be cool. I think
They seem to have some classic characters in the game too, just
Yeah.
as like little cameos.
Yeah, the Voidco, they're kind of fitting into the same category as what were the Brutals?
The Brutals,
Those weird
bunnies.
bunny people. I'm kind of putting them in that category where
I
it's
don't
like,
think they've been seen before and they will be seen again.
it's like they're fine, but they're not like knocking my socks off as an enemy. It's
Yeah.
like it would be better if there was a bigger
But that's not why you're playing the game.
enemy. People love K. Rool. Now,
like K. Rool.
now, the argument against is this game is Nintendo putting its new stamp on Donkey Kong and kind of moving away from all of the rare
Right,
rare
sure.
stuff versus K. Rool that was a rare creation. So would they
Not
kind
want
of
to.
relent on that and be like, well, we're getting rid of everything but K. Rool because K. Rool's cool.
That's in the name.
I do like King K. Rool.
I think that he will be maybe a cameo.
You don't think he's the secret final boss?
I don't think he's the secret final
Okay.
boss. But I love a K. Rool. I'm gonna boop his belly all the time. But I don't think. I think maybe it's a cranky level cameo. Versus it being.
So you think the Void Kongs those are just the bad guys?
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I all of these explanations, I'm like, oh, okay. But I just think for the fact of like the game needs a big singular enemy to rally around, that's the reason to do it.
What's he doing down there?
So I don't know.
What's he doing down there?
Slapping his belly. Belly bongo and downstairs. There we go. Shiny asks, hello, Kit and Krysta. In Japan, respecting your elders seems to be a big deal. Did you ever feel unable to speak your mind to coworkers that were older than you? And alternatively, did you ever have trouble taking the ideas of younger coworkers that seriously simply because they were younger than you?
There's definitely a way that we had to address people in Japan, a lot of misters, miss, etc. Like respectfully addressing them correctly. I wouldn't say that I ever felt like I couldn't speak my mind, though. You had to present your ideas in a very respectful, professional way. But it wasn't like, oh no, just because this person has a lot more seniority than I do and is a lot more older than I am, I can't tell him, or tell them what I'm thinking. I never felt that way.
Yes. You did get in a big argument with one of our more senior people in Japan around beauty products.
Skincare.
I don't know why he chose to pick this argument with you.
Because why would he know?
As I'm not sure.
He was not an authority on this.
I don't think he was, but he really was going at you about this.
He really was.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think you should use that product.
I should clarify, this was at a sake bar.
It was many sake.
A couple barrels of sake in for the both of you. Yes.
Yeah, we were sake'd up.
Yeah, I think what you said is right. Is the distinction is just this whole thick layer of politeness that you had to talk through.
Yes.
It's like that was an art of like, how do I get my point across in a forceful way that has this wrapper of politeness?
Yeah, and they just want to see the wrapper.
Right.
They don't mind that you're speaking your mind.
Yeah.
Many times you would have to kind of like sometimes even push back a bit against the stuff that they're saying just to get your point across. I don't think they minded that, but they just want you to present it in a way that is palatable to them.
Right.
Which is just with this extreme politeness. Mm-hmm. Many times you just start with, I apologize for blank.
Small talk about the weather?
Yeah, dear Mr. Blank.
Yeah.
My apologies for blank. There's a great TikTok.
There's a lot of TikToks that
where they talk about how you write an email, and it's like, I hope that the spring weather is treating you well, and that you're not having too much trouble with allergies.
Exactly. Yes.
So, yeah, that's literally the second line, and then you kind of like dance around your point, and then you make your point, and you have like 3 supporting bullets because that's what Reggie says you have to do about your point, and then you end it with some other polite chatter.
Yes.
It's like, well, hope you have a lovely, spring day.
Right.
Enjoy the time with your family.
So with all that fluff, like sometimes the thrust of what you need to say can get lost.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge.
And then sometimes you have to say it multiple times.
And that was a skill that you would have to build up.
And then you would have to do that skill verbally as well.
Yes.
Like when you get into a meeting with them, there's always some polite chit chat in the beginning of meetings that was expected, and then you would sort of get into it, and you would have to like speak in a very formal, certain way, and do that while sharing your opinion. So it was like an art.
Yeah.
Of how to communicate. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Luna B asks, although I'm still playing through Mario Kart World, I am also already thinking about potential future DLC. When you were working at Nintendo, were you made aware of DLC ahead of time? Was this typically planned out during development, or did they plan DLC around the success of a game? I'd love to hear any insight about this, and if you have a favorite DLC or one that you were really excited to play when hearing about. Thanks. The example that comes to mind for me of kind of an unusual way into DLC is for Breath of the Wild.
I was thinking that one too.
Which is one where we were told, well, we're going to announce the DLC before the game is released, which for Nintendo at the time was very unusual.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of concern expressed of like, well, we might be putting the cart in front of the horse here of asking people to
pay and then pay again.
To pony up for this when they don't even have the game yet. They need to buy that. A little worried about that. So we started to dig into it. It's like, well, what is this DLC? What are we asking people to buy? And they're like, yeah, we're not sure yet. We're still figuring that out. It's like, okay, well, maybe this is strike two now. Of like, you want people to buy this pass, but you're like, well, we'll have it figured out by the time we make the announcement.
Will you?
And I was like, oh boy, this is unusual.
Off to a bad start.
This is unusual.
Yeah. So they plan DLC pretty far in advance.
It's these days.
It's not they're gonna need time to make it.
Right.
So you're gonna have to get going on something.
Right.
Sooner rather than later versus it being like, let's wait and see if this is successful before we plan DLC. Obviously this is more for games that have established credibility. Like Mario Kart 100% they're already planning through a lot of DLC.
Although the booster course pass for 8 Deluxe, they were that was years. That was like 5 years after.
Right.
They were kind of like, oh, this is continuing to be bigger than we thought. We better do something with this.
That one is a little bit of an out of the ordinary though. But for most games, I think these days they are planning for DLC, like in line with games development because they want to extend the game's life for as long as possible. So yeah, I mean they're definitely planning the DLC for Mario Kart World. If not, have already finished a big chunk of that already, and just waiting for the right time to put it out, and for however they want to strategize how to keep the excitement going on Mario Kart World. I'm sure that's what is going into like when they're releasing the DLC. But I think the DLC is like done or close to done.
Right. But maybe you could even argue they're too rigid about this, where Animal Crossing is the example of that, where they had the big DLC pack and there was still a massive interest around it, and they're like, no, we're done.
They probably moved on to developing the new game.
We're moving on. So, right.
At some point, you got to stop making DLC to make the new game.
This is going to be the best-selling Animal Crossing game ever.
I know.
Make hay while the sun's shining.
This is hard for them.
Really dusting off some turns of phrases today.
It's weird.
The molehills.
The molehills.
Making hay. Kitty cat corner.
Kitty corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they are very like stuck in their process. Like the other person that has a specific process around DLC is Sakurai.
Yeah.
Like the fighters passes are planned well
right.
in advance. The game hasn't launched yet. We already know all the fighters passes.
But the polls.
Yeah, those polls don't matter. They're fake polls. It is. They're quite stuck in that process of like, how do we make DLC, when to make it, when to announce it, and when to stop making it. Because I think at some point, for DLC, they're like, we got to move on to the next game, so we're just gonna drop this,
Yep.
So.
Thank you to everybody who sent in a question. Don't forget to subscribe at patreon.com/KitandKrysta, where for just a few dollars a month, you can get all of the exclusive content in addition to the new stuff. You get the new and the old. The vault just opens up.
I wouldn't say old. It's all still relevant stuff.
Classic.
Yes.
What would you like to call it?
I would say classic.
Great.
Yes.
Classic content. The vault door just opens up.
And then it closes again with you inside.
With you inside, yes. Yes, we have so much stuff, exclusive content, our wonderful Patreon community, on Discord. It just goes on and on, so check us out.
We are also on the socials. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, and Threads.
Yes, I will remind you once again about the march to 100K on YouTube. Please subscribe if you have not. Leave a comment. If you are on audio, you can also please subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review there if you'd like. Thank you very much.
All right. Shall we shout out some of our wonderful Patreon community members?
Yes.
Starting with Final Boss, Aaron Hay.
There he is. As always.
Aaron Hash may or may not have donated something for the 100K extravaganza.
Wonderful.
So that'll be exciting to find out what that is once we get there. Yay. Superstars. Ben Eichhorn.
Maru Mayhem.
Eigenverse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Roy Eschke.
Switching it up _
VGM Life.
Link, the hero of wins.
Angela Bycroft.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LaBeouf.
Roberto Nieves.
Frederick Ulf Conradson.
Andrew Uhas.
Chili.
Simon.
Crashuri.
Master Discord.
Ash.
Ajay Kunlas.
40 Gig.
Travis Torline.
Echo Ladare.
That's so Linnell.
MSM Poke Gamer.
Cameron.
R. Burns.
Igami.
Kit 10K.
Adrian.
And Nathan Clover.
Wow. Okay, and here come the One Up Club. Aaron Burgundy.
Adcool 2000.
Ali Alejandro.
Ali.
Andy Peachy.
Andy Robinson.
Angel 8.
Aristu.
Astro Void.
Astro Dev.
Atticus Hogbin.
Awesome 46.
Axel.
Bad at Smash.
Bad Moon Horizon.
Barnstorm.
Benji B.
You forgot Bates.
Oh, Bates!
Big and Gamer with a Y.
Brad SF56.
Brandon Cavapel.
Brent Dennison.
Ryan Decker.
Brovac Novak.
Bruce Dash.
Bucky Flores.
Call sign Forte.
Cashew.
Shadir.
Chelly Squirrel.
Chicken.
Chris Fisher.
Crispy Saurus.
Christina.
Christopher Lay.
Colin Finnegan.
Cosmic Titan 718.
Captain Alex.
C Roper 17.
Dag DeLeo.
Dallas E.
Daniel S.
Doxson.
Delving with Dilford.
Devi P.
Doingo.
Dre.
Eccentric Tony.
Al Hugo.
Elite Peach.
Espars 50.
Furbound.
Fernie and Jess Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Gamer Nerd 78.
Gamers Like Anime.
Garth the Wolf.
Gartooth.
Jeremy.
Gin Wolf.
Guilty Phoenix 42.
Handheld Gamer.
Happy Sloth.
I May Have Made a Mistake.
Iris Marin.
It's your boy Jay Hov.
Jay Rando.
Jameson Eisenberg.
Jason Ball 34.
Joe Encarnacion.
Joel.
John Diaz.
Jonathan Rowe.
John Com Boy.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joshua Clements.
Juji Fruit.
Justin Lemminger.
J Wolf.
Callan CPU 57.
Kawa 2796.
Kevin Delane.
Kevin Moreno.
Kilo Kibo.
Klefki to my heart.
Christopia Party With Me.
KS 3261.
Kyle Gamer Berry Rookie.
Kyle 325.
Kyle Kretzer.
Kyle R. Smith.
Lazy Cat for Coffee.
Leah Rao.
Lex.
Lightwood.
Link 9898.
Lil Mikey.
Linko.
Lit.
Lucas Pico.
Luigi Kid 64.
Luke Hayabusa.
Luna B.
Lynn.
Matcha Potato.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G and Callie Marie.
Mario Man 392.
Mark S.
Marky Man 64.
Maverick Nate.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
May Plus Leon.
Michael Mazer.
Michael O'Hara.
Michael Wong.
Mikey.
Mr. Ryan 07.
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Pong.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
Mr. Disneyland.
My Tran.
Nasir.
Naif E.
Nigba Reeves.
Nimbendo 64.
Ninja 11.
Noah-san.
Omega Index Card.
Pangy.
Paperboat.
Patrice Millette.
Paul.
Paul Gale Network.
PokeDigifan 20.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Punky.
Rain Tech.
Reckless Thomas.
Rob M.
Rob O.
Romsky 113.
Rocks.
Rusty Shackelford.
Ryan Haas.
Ryanetta.
Sage Gamer.
Sebastiano Garase.
Sega.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinryu.
Shiny Elizabeth.
Slowbro.
Schmiggles.
Shump.
Schnazzle.
Spacey Poo.
Spicy Munchkin.
Theo Citrone.
Stephen Johnson.
Stephen Rockoff.
Pseudo Priest.
Symbiote Spidey.
Tales of Link.
Tandem.
Tay 120 N64.
Teal Fox 64.
The Keggers.
The Quiet One.
The Sarah OT.
The Sharkama Men.
The Schmidt one.
The T-Man.
Thomas Alvarez.
Three Rivers.
Titanium Soldier.
Torcheeks.
Totally Joe Ed.
Totomaru.
Trajowie.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tusku.
Tylander 16.
Tyler Geis.
Vash.
Vidgmictor.
Vinny to the K.
Viridian.
Virtual Bot.
Waffles.
WG Grizzy.
Wicked Davy.
William Brimer.
Zachary S.
Zelgoroth.
Zapatty.
Zero Link.
And Zoid.
They said in the One Up Club Discord, they were like, what if it gets so long that they won't read our names anymore?
That won't happen.
That won't ever happen.
That won't happen.
We would always read your names.
We will.
Then I saw John Convoy right today.
You got it right.
I got it right. I was paying attention.
You were prepared for that. Yeah.
I was very nervous.
You weren't going to let that happen after
Joy Convoy.
5 straight weeks of what?
All right. That is
Back
it.
to being doomed?
Back to being doomed. Next week, you'll be... this time next week, you'll be in France.
Beaming in.
From France.
Transatlantic.
From France.
Yes.
So we'll bonjour you from there. For now, au revoir. Bye.
Bye.